Chapter 840. What? Many king beasts were shocked. Humans had 2 more kings. Moreover, as soon as they leveled up, they had the ability to kill the king of King Kong Ant and the king of Purple Butterfly. How was that possible? Didn't that mean that these 2 female kings had the potential to become invincible kings? At once, all the king beasts felt suffocated. They were extremely depressed. Originally, 5 king beasts had died. It was already a great loss. Now 2 more king beasts had died. However, humans had 2 more kings. The difference between the 2 sides was huge. Originally, humans and beasts were in a balanced state. Now the power was out of balance. If they really started a war, the Thousand Monster Mountain would be defeated because they didn't have enough high-level fighting power. Damn it! How could this happen? That human was too arrogant. He killed 2 of our king beasts. Does he really think that there are no beasts in the Thousand Monster Mountain? What do those damn humans want? The Tiger King's face was extremely gloomy. Even though he wasn't familiar with the 2 king beasts that had been killed, he felt sad for them. We couldn't do anything about it. Although they killed our king beasts, it was in a historical site. According to the peace agreement, when we search for treasures in the historical site, we fight. Life or death is up to the heavens. Yeah. When we search for treasures in the historical site, we can also kill human kings. It's not against the rules. We can't say that the humans broke the agreement. Plus, the 5 king beasts died because we attacked first. If we didn't want to kill that human Xiaoping, this wouldn't have happened. We only have ourselves to blame. Some king beasts felt that the Thousand Monster Mountain wasn't in the right. Instead, they were asking for it. If they didn't ask for it, this wouldn't have happened. They didn't think that there was anything wrong with humans killing the king beasts. They were 2 different races. There was a blood feud between them. They didn't need any reason to kill each other. Shut up. You are boosting other people's morale and diminishing our own. So what if we killed a little human genius? Can his life be compared to the king beast's lives? They aren't even on the same level. That's right. What do you mean by asking for it? We should kill that human genius. That bitch did so many evil things. Doesn't he deserve to die? We are enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens. Today he dares to sell the geniuses of the demon race. Tomorrow he will dare to sell the demon king. There is nothing that slut Xiaoping can't do. If such a person doesn't deserve to die, then who does? That's right. If such a scourge is not eradicated, the heavens will not tolerate it. Humans can die, but the monster kings of our Wanyao mountain cannot. This is the rule. Many monster kings shouted angrily. They felt that some monster kings were too weak actually speaking up for the humans. They even said that this was the Thousand Monster Mountain's own fault. It was too exaggerated. If not for the fact that they were very familiar with each other's personalities and the strong demonic aura emanating from their bodies, they would have thought that these demon kings were humans in demonic skin and were all fucking human spies. You're right. Starting a war is not a problem. But now we have lost 2 monster kings. Our strength has been greatly reduced. How are we supposed to fight against the humans? Don't tell me we're going to die and destroy the 10,000-year foundation of our Thousand Monster Mountain? A demon king sneered. Can we cooperate with those sea monsters and launch a pincer attack to severely injure the humans? Wishful thinking. Those sea monsters are not on the same side as us land monsters. How are we going to cooperate? We all have a blood feud with those sea monsters. If we cooperate, we will definitely be cheated. Don't even think about it. Cooperating with those sea monsters is like asking a tiger for its skin. It's suicide. This won't do, that won't do. Are we just going to watch those shameless humans get away with it? Are we going to let the death of our monster kings go just like that? Is it appropriate? That's right. If the other people of the Thousand Monster Mountain know about this, they will definitely be furious and demand for the murderer to be severely punished. Many monster kings clenched their teeth. They were very unwilling. However, the situation had changed too quickly. The humans suddenly had 2 great kings and also killed 2 of their monster kings. They had suddenly turned the situation around, putting the Thousand Monster Mountain in a very disadvantageous position. If they started a war, without a doubt, this time the Thousand Monster Mountain would definitely be heavily injured. They were heavily injured again and again. Not long after, the Thousand Monster Mountain would probably be destroyed. the entire cloud world would probably become the territory of these humans. There would be no place for the monster clan to stay. Let's start the Monster King path. All of a sudden, deep inside the palace, a voice was heard. At the same time, a vast amount of chi engulfed the entire palace. It was shocking and the earth shook. The one who spoke was the king of the Thousand Monster Mountain. Nobody in the outside world knew what kind of monster the king of the Thousand Monster Mountain was. He was mysterious and elusive. However, without a doubt, he was the highest ruler of the entire Thousand Monster Mountain. His power was unfathomable. Legend had it that the Thousand Monster Mountain was originally a pile of loose sand. Countless monster kings did their own things and nobody was willing to listen to anyone. However, once the king of the Thousand Monster Mountain appeared, he immediately used his peerless power to suppress the world. He made countless monster kings submit to him. Many monsters gathered together and their power multiplied. If it wasn't for the king of the Thousand Monster Mountain, the monsters would probably have been destroyed by the humans. What? Isn't the king in isolation? He actually came out now? This is too big. Even the king is completely alarmed. That human really deserves to die. He actually alarmed the king for such a small matter. What a sin. Many monster kings were shocked. They never thought that the king of the Thousand Monster Mountain, who had been in isolation for so many years, would never come out unless it was a matter of life and death for the monster clan, would actually come out now. King Monster King's path? Could it be the legendary demonic Beast King trial? Hearing this, the battle rabbit monarch's body trembled. Once I pass this trial, I will definitely become a monster king. I've heard of this trial too. It said that it was left behind by the ancient monster clan. Back then, it was easier to become a monster king. It was not as difficult as it is now. That was the golden age of monster kings. But wasn't this trial closed a long time ago? Because the process is too bloody and difficult. Even if the monster clan's geniuses enter, they will also die. This is simply a slaughterhouse. The king actually wants to open this monster king's path now. Could it be that our Thousand Monster Mountain has reached a moment of life and death? There's no other way. 7 monster kings were killed by the human race. This is an unbearable loss. I'm guessing the emperor saw this as well. Many monster kings' eyes flickered. They knew the great significance of the opening of the Monster King's path. Every time the Thousand Monster Mountain was in danger, this path would be opened and a large number of monster kings would be nurtured. However, it was too difficult to pass this trial. Who knew how many monsters would die before a monster king was born? Because this Monster King's path was too dangerous, it had not been opened for thousands of years. Moreover, it was also very difficult to open. After all, every opening required a large amount of resources. If the Thousand Monster Mountain did not go all out, they would not be able to open this trial successfully. Pass down the order. The king of the Thousand Monster Mountain said. 3 days later, the Monster King's path will open. Whether you want to participate or not is up to you. As for that human Xiaoping, put it aside for now. When the Monster King's path is completed, we will settle the score with him. His voice was calm and seemed to contain an inconceivable power. Yes. Chapter 841. At the same time, the news that Xiaoshu and Su may have become challengers had spread throughout the human world. Every time a challenger was born, it would be an earth-shattering event in the cloud realm. It would immediately become the headline of the major news and be sent to everyone's phone. Immediately, people all over the world became excited and started discussing it crazily. That's amazing. We humans have 2 more challengers. This is the fortune of the human race. With 2 more challengers, let's see if those monsters can still be so arrogant. Now we humans have nothing to worry about. If we can have a few more invincible challengers, we'll probably be able to dominate the entire world. We'll rule the continent and the endless sea. Even the stars and the sea will be ours. I heard that humans have already begun to explore the space outside the universe in search of extraterrestrial life. There might be progress soon. Maybe we'll even be able to colonize planets in the future. Many people were extremely excited. No one knew better than them what challengers meant to humans. For humans, challengers were like a stabilizing force. After all, only challengers could fight challengers. Based on the current human weapons, only a few could deal with challengers. Moreover, they were very expensive to manufacture and few in number. It was unrealistic to rely on these weapons to fight against monster kings. Once they reached the invincible challenger level, no weapons could stop them. Even laser cannons would be unscathed. Once they moved, laser cannons wouldn't even be able to keep up with their speed. If he didn't have any high-end combat power, just a single invincible demon king would be enough to destroy a human city. The more advanced a civilization was, the more high-level combat power determined the outcome of a war. It was like the nuclear era. Once a nuclear bomb was launched, all aircraft carriers, bombs, and satellite weapons would be useless. When a nuclear bomb exploded, everything in the world would be destroyed. Quantity, quality, numbers, and good equipment were all meaningless in front of such a god of war. Of course, because they were too powerful, such high-level combat power wouldn't be mobilized unless it was a matter of life and death. They would only be used as a threat and deterrence. Not only challengers but also two female challengers. They're so beautiful. They're like goddesses. I feel like I'm in love. Some people were intoxicated by their peerless beauty. Many people felt that they were national idols. If they acted, the ratings would definitely go through the roof and they would gain countless fans. Don't even think about it. That's a king. He's on a completely different level from us ordinary people. Which man is worthy of such an outstanding woman? I bet anyone would flinch at the sight of it. Some people sighed with emotion. In front of such a woman, it was estimated that any man would feel ashamed of their inferiority. Among the men of the same generation, there were only a few who were worthy of them. After all, they had all become kings, while the others were still struggling in the master realm. No, according to the grapevine, these two great beauties already have men. They've been fucked a long time ago, and it's the same man. Someone spread the grapevine's information mysteriously. Fuck, is this for real? If you get one, you'll be lucky enough to get one. How can you get two? You'll be hugging them in both arms? A Huang and Nuying? Which beast is so outrageous? The group of people gnashed their teeth, feeling incomparable grief and indignation. Such a great beauty had actually been taken by a pig, and two at once. Who could bear such a thing? Who else could it be? The champion of the genius battle, Xia Ping. Don't talk nonsense here. Xia Ping is only 19 years old this year, and he just came to the Cloud Realm to study. No matter how I look at it, he has no connection with these two. You know nothing. Miss Chiu seems to have gone to planet Yanhuang to be a teacher for a year in order to cultivate. It just so happened that she taught Xia Ping's class. That's how they got to know each other. What a beast. Xia Ping even flirted with his own teacher. Is he still human? He doesn't study well at school and flirts with teachers all day. How can he study well like this? I insist that the school forbid this unhealthy practice of puppy love. Once we find any signs of it, we will immediately crack down and nip this evil behavior in the bud. He has been admitted to Yanhuang University and became the champion of the genius battle. He has a promising future. How can his academic performance be bad? Everyone gnashed their teeth in hatred. They were very unwilling. If Xia Ping's performance was not good enough, they could loudly criticize him, thinking that he was not worthy of the two goddesses at all. However, at only 19 years old, he had become the champion of the genius battle and reached the master realm. He had swept all his opponents with an invincible attitude. This was the qualification of an invincible king. It was completely conceivable that in a short time, this guy would definitely become a king. Such an evildoer, even if someone wanted to attack him, there was no way to do so. Sometimes the gap was so big that it was impossible to make up for it. Even jealousy couldn't do anything, only admiration. That's not right. Miss Chiu has been his teacher for a year. What's going on with Miss Su Mei? It is said that Miss Chiu and Miss Su are good friends. They are both classmates at Yanhuang University. As a result, I don't know what happened, but that beast Xia Ping hooked up with them. Shameless. He even laid his hands on his girlfriend's best friend. He has evil intentions. Isn't this a foot in two boats? More than that. It is said that there are many women who have an affair with that bastard. From the east to the west of the city, there are many who want to have abortions for him. Those shameless women are like moths to a flame. There's no justice. Why do so many goddesses like such a scumbag? It doesn't make sense. Women don't like bad men. I don't accept it. I also want to be a bad man. Don't talk nonsense. A pure bad man is a hooligan. Which excellent woman will like him? You know what a real bad man is. He is rich, handsome, has an 8-pack, can say sweet words, knows how to read people's expressions and flirts everywhere. This is the standard of a bad man. Which one of you can meet it? A group of superficial women. Why don't you see my inner qualities? I really can't see it. A group of netizens are gnashing their teeth, envious, jealous, and hateful. But there is nothing they can do about it. After all, this is the other party's problem. They can only watch. Some people curse fiercely, hoping that the two great beauties, Choshu and Sumei, will kick this scumbag away. The prodigal son will turn over a new leaf in time and escape from the sea of bitterness. At this time, Xiaoping did not know that there was such an earth-shattering event on the internet. At the moment, he was in the practice room of the villa, practicing in seclusion. The geocentric Ganoderma that he had obtained before was eaten by him at once. Suddenly, a huge amount of medicinal power rushed into his limbs and bones, broke through the meridians, and greatly increased the aura qi in his body. Chapter 842. In the training room of the villa, Xiaoping sat cross-legged on the ground and operated the pure yang immortal art. The medicinal power of the geocentric Ganoderma had completely melted into his limbs and bones, flowing through every meridian like lava. It's very warm. He closed his eyes and the sun furnace on his body burned, refining the medicinal power of the geocentric Ganoderma into the gang qi in his body. This geocentric Ganoderma was a spiritual medicine that was born after absorbing the essence of endless flames. It contained pure flame energy. For Xiaoping, who cultivated the pure yang immortal art, it was extremely beneficial. Walala, the astral energy in every meridian in his body surged madly, like the roar of a flood dragon, like the flow of lava, like the eruption of a volcano. The astral energy in his body increased madly, and it was even more than what he had cultivated for several years. At this moment, Xiaoping's body trembled. The acupoints in his body were opened one by one, allowing these newly opened acupoints to accommodate the increased gang qi in his body. Even if one cultivated for many years, it would not be as helpful to a martial artist as a spiritual medicine. This was why martial artists desired heavenly treasures so much, because the help they could provide was too great. Fortunately, this spiritual medicine was obtained by Xiaoping, which saved him a lot of time and allowed his cultivation to advance by leaps and bounds. Time passed. After an unknown amount of time, when the last insight acupoint was broken by the boundless astral energy, Xiaoping's eyes revealed a shocking light, and his entire body was enveloped by a clump of crimson flames. From afar, this flame was like a blooming lotus, exceptionally beautiful. Even in the dark space, such a dazzling brilliance could not be blocked. The temperature of the whole training room was rising rapidly, and the heat waves were rolling. Even the air seemed to be distorted, and a large number of illusions were produced, as if a divine bird was singing in his body. Dong! Xiaoping felt that he had finally broken through a certain bottleneck and stepped into a new realm of martial arts. The gang qi of the 12 acupoints merged into one, resonating with each other, producing a mysterious energy, the fourth sky of the Grandmaster realm. After obtaining this geocentric Ganoderma, he kept opening the acupoints in his body, which saved him a lot of cultivation time. Finally, he broke through to the fourth sky of the Grandmaster realm in one fell swoop. This was the intermediate Grandmaster realm. Compared to the third sky of the Grandmaster realm, this realm was much stronger. This power, Xiaoping found that the gang qi on his body seemed to be easier to control. With a thought, the gang qi that filled the void immediately changed into various forms. There were 3-feet-long swords, tiger-headed broadswords, silver spears, giant axes, sledgehammers, hooks, bows and arrows, and all sorts of other weapons. Every single one of them emitted a heart-palpitating murderous aura. Their cold light was dazzling and oppressive. Boom! He punched out, and the 18 weapons condensed from stellar energy in the void immediately exploded, attacking the huge wooden dummies in front of the training room. With a pung sound, these wooden stakes were struck by these weapons and were immediately cut into countless pieces. The cuts were neat and smooth. What a strong power! Xiaoping was very satisfied. He felt that the attack power of the fourth stage of the Supreme Power Realm was much stronger than that of the third stage. After reaching the intermediate Zhongsha realm, one would be able to control their gang energy with even greater ease. They would be able to transform their gang energy into all kinds of divine weapons at will. Their gang energy would not be any weaker than any other weapon. They would be indestructible and extremely tough. Even his strength had increased a lot. He felt that his body was full of explosive muscles. Every move he made was like a giant beast, sweeping away everything in its way. With a light punch, he could create an explosion of air. Even from several kilometers away, he could still destroy a small mountain. Moreover, dozens of infernal golden crow cells in his body had also been awakened, making the infernal golden crow bloodline even stronger. It seemed that his blood had turned pale gold, and his whole body was wrapped in golden light. From a distance he looked like the Vajra Arhat body, with divine power, solemnity and sacredness. The 36 acupoints in Xiao Qin's body were filled with boundless stellar energy. This stellar energy condensed into a small golden crow of hell, burning quietly like a small sun. If they operated at the same time, the power that would erupt would be unimaginable. Earth Spirit Fire. At this time Xia Ping also felt that after refining the power of the Earth Spirit Ganoderma, the deepest level of energy also emerged from the Sea of Qi in his Dantian. It was a lotus-like red flame. This was the flame essence that was born from endless molten lava, the Earth Spirit Fire. It swayed gently in the depths of the Sea of Qi in his Dantian. The flame burned, emitting a destructive, violent and destructive aura. It was like the eruption of molten lava, with unparalleled destructive power. And this Earth Spirit Fire was also absorbed by Xia Ping's body. It completely integrated into his body and into his gang energy. Flame! Xia Ping's eyes flashed. He grabbed with his hand, and immediately a flaming divine sword appeared in midair. This was a giant flaming sword formed by the Earth Spirit Fire. Its whole body seemed to be formed by molten lava, and there were flame patterns around it. It was extremely violent and had a terrifying destructive power. Once it exploded, it would be like a volcano erupting, destroying mountains. If Xia Ping threw this flaming divine sword and smashed it hard on the ground, the energy of the flaming divine sword would explode. With this divine sword as the center, the area within a radius of 100 meters would be covered in molten lava, turning into a sea of fire. It could be said that after obtaining the Earth Spirit Fire, the power of his gang energy had become more violent, and its destructive power had become more terrifying. It had doubled, and ordinary grandmasters would definitely die if they touched it. Once it was set on fire, ordinary seawater could not extinguish it. Well, my mental strength has also increased. Xia Ping closed his eyes. When he was promoted to the fourth heaven of Supreme Power Realm, the golden soul crystal in the depths of his mind seemed to have melted a part of the golden energy and integrated into his soul. Immediately, his mental strength increased crazily, and the range of its spread increased sharply. 20 kilometers, 22 kilometers, 24 kilometers, and it kept extending. In the end, it had increased to 30 kilometers. Compared with before, his mental strength had increased by 50%. This was an exaggerated figure. It was impossible for ordinary grandmasters to increase their mental strength in this way. Without the help of the soul crystal, it was estimated that Xia Ping would not be able to do it. Even this soul crystal had only melted a small part of it. If this soul crystal was completely absorbed and refined, it was unknown how powerful Xia Ping's soul would become. Another day passed. Xia Ping did not go out. He stayed in the practice room, quietly feeling the surging power in his body. He completely controlled this power and took it as his own. After all, even if his power had skyrocketed, if he could not use it freely, he would only be a reckless man. He could not exert the true meaning of power, which was a great waste. Ding dong. Chapter 843. 250 million hate points. Xia Ping smiled slightly. This was timely. In order to exchange for a secret method like the soul crystal, he had spent 200 million and basically used up all the hate points he had. Now he had gained the hate of those monster kings, which was a huge gain. This way he could get more good things in exchange for more useful items. He was really grateful to those dead monster kings. Not only did they contribute their treasures, but they also did not forget to give him a gift after they died, creating a lot of hate points for him. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were the children of wealth. However, since he had gained so much hate points, one could imagine how angry those monster kings were. They probably wanted to cut him into 8 pieces and get rid of him quickly. Moreover, it was different from the previous sale of demon geniuses. Now several monster kings had died, which was a huge loss for the Wanyao Mountain. It was an intolerable shame. If he completely angered the Wanyao Mountain, he was afraid that the other side would disregard everything and launch a war between the human race and the demon race. If this was the case, he had to be prepared in advance. There would probably be a hard battle next. Thinking of this, Xiaoping opened the virtual network and wanted to check the news. After all, if the Wanyao Mountain really planned to attack the human world, then there would definitely be news. What? Su Mei and Qiushu have both advanced to the King realm. As soon as he opened the news, Xiaoping's communicator was immediately flooded with this news. This was simply the biggest news in the cloud realm at present, and it became the headline on major news websites. Posts, forums, and other places were full of topics about Su Mei and Qiushu. After all, their topics were too rich. They were peerless beauties, came from Yanhuang University, and were young. No matter which one it was enough to amaze the world. If it was a veteran grandmaster who advanced to the King realm, it probably would not cause such a big discussion. As soon as she advanced to the King realm, she actually killed the King Kong Ant King and the Purple Butterfly King. She's really amazing. Xiaoping also saw this news. This was even more shocking than Qiushu and Su Mei advancing to the King realm. Before, he had killed 5 monster kings and now 2 more had died. A total of 7 had died. It was estimated that this time the Wanyao Mountain would really go crazy. No one could stop them. War was inevitable. Well, there is no news from the Wanyao Mountain. It is still calm. Don't tell me they have no intention of starting a war? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He flipped through the headlines, but there seemed to be no news of the demons sending troops. If the Wanyao Mountain had made a move, it was impossible for the humans to not know about it. However, nothing had happened at the moment. They didn't even say any words of condemnation. This was simply unimaginable. That's right, the death of 5 monster kings. If they were enraged, then the death of 7 monster kings would be terrifying. The losses would be unimaginable, causing the 1,000 monster mountain to shrink back, not daring to rashly start a war. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. It was like an army. In a war, if more than 10% of the soldiers died, it would only infuriate the other side, filling them with hatred and madly attacking the enemy. However, if more than 50% of the army died, they would immediately collapse and flee in fear. No matter how powerful the commander was, he wouldn't be able to stop them. The principle was the same. Now the human race had 2 more king-level beasts, and the Wanyao Mountain had lost 7 king-level beasts. Their power was rising and falling. Those king-level beasts were not idiots. How could they dare to start a war so easily? Could it be that they were really not afraid of death? They were all king-level beasts of various races. They had families to feed. Even if they didn't think for themselves, they still had to think for the survival of their race. If they started a war, they could get some treasures, spirit medicine, or expand their territory. Even if they started a war, it wouldn't be much. Once they won, they could make up for it. However, there were no benefits at the moment. They just wanted to vent their anger. Even the Wanyao Mountain's strength was inferior to the humans. They might not be able to win. If they still started a war now, what was the difference between them and idiots? Therefore, the Cloud Realm was still peaceful. The Wanyao Mountain also didn't come out to cause trouble. It wasn't strange at all. I'm quite lucky this time. Xiaoping smiled faintly. Fortunately, Su Mei and Qiushu appeared out of nowhere and killed 2 great king-level beasts. They completely shocked the Wanyao Mountain so that they didn't dare to act rashly. Otherwise, the Wanyao Mountain would really attack the city and slaughter dozens of human cities, causing countless casualties. The treasures obtained from the king-level beasts, master-level beasts, and core students were all sold? Xiaoping continued to check the messages on his communicator, and found that his account had an extra 2.5 trillion federal coins. When he came back, he immediately handed these goods to the giant company and asked them to help him sell them. As expected of the giant company, even such a huge amount of goods could be easily sold. After all, their sales channels were all over the cloud realm. They even had a lot of cooperation with the sea monsters in the Wanyao mountain. Therefore, a few days later, the money from the sale of these treasures was also transferred to his account by the giant company. Buy energy. Buy immediately. Buy. Xia Ping waved his hand and immediately went online to order energy for the moon god. He spent most of the money he had on him, leaving only a small amount for emergency needs. Compared to other things, the moon god was the most important. As long as the moon god had enough energy, it would be the biggest treasure. It was enough to ensure his own safety. Even if the king-level beasts attacked, they wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Also, without enough energy, this ship couldn't perform a space jump. Therefore, of course, he had to buy energy first so that the moon god could start. As expected of a super battleship, it really is a bottomless pit. Xia Ping sighed. If an ordinary person obtained more than 200 billion federal coins, they probably wouldn't be able to spend it all in their lifetime. However, for a super battleship like the moon god, it was just a small amount of money. If he continued to use it, he would probably spend even more money. Fortunately, he had the help of the dead king-level beasts. Otherwise, he would really go bankrupt. No matter how much money he had, he wouldn't have enough to spend. It's already morning? Xia Ping stretched his back. His bones cracked. It was just getting bright outside. It should be morning. He had been in the training room for a few days. He hadn't gone out or taken a bath. His body had long since started to stink. His whole body was quite oily. He wanted to take a bath. In this villa there was a man-made hot spring. There were massage, sauna, and other effects. The flowing water was specially made. It contained a huge amount of medicinal power, which was very beneficial to martial artists. It could repair human injuries and increase the cultivation speed of martial artists. There were many benefits. This was one of the great benefits of the villas in the core area of the giant island. Ordinary people couldn't afford it. Thinking of this, he left the training room and went to the entrance of the hot spring. Chapter 844. Sure enough, taking a bath in the morning is really delightful and refreshing. Suji happily walked out of the hot spring bathroom. After a night of exhaustion because she soaked in the hot spring in the morning, the blood in her body was very smooth, and she immediately felt energetic. However, this hot spring is really exaggerated. It's just a hot spring, but the water actually contains the power of prunella, knotweed, northern grass crow, honeysuckle, and dozens of other precious spiritual herbs. How is this a hot spring? It's simply a medicinal bath. It's too extravagant. Suji was very emotional. Even the Su family did not have such an extravagant behavior. It was just a hot spring, but they actually treated it as a medicinal bath. Moreover, there was an unlimited supply of such water, and it could be used at any time. This was really too wasteful. Every drop of water that flowed out represented a large amount of money. Only a colossus like the giant company, which was above many king families, would dare to use it so extravagantly. They were very rich and overbearing, making others envious. However, even a superpower like the giant company would not be so wasteful. If one was not a core member of the giant company, they would not be able to enjoy such top-notch treatment. From this point of view, Xia Ping was already regarded as a future core member of the giant company. Otherwise, he would not have been assigned to such a villa. Hateful bastard, to think that he can enjoy such treatment and live an extravagant life. Life is really too unfair. Suji was indignant. She was very puzzled by how the giant company treated this unscrupulous bad guy Xia Ping. He was obviously a shameless man without a single bright spot, but he was actually treated like this. This was too unfair. A good child like her, who was conscientious and diligent in cultivation, and never stirred up trouble, was living a very bitter life. She was even forced to marry by her family, and was forced to become this shameless man's maid. This god simply did not have eyes. When did she, the young miss of the Su family, fall to such a state? Fortunately, there is this hot spring. It can also increase the speed of cultivation. This can be considered a good benefit. Suji secretly comforted herself. This hot spring was extremely beneficial to the cultivation of martial artists. Every time she soaked, it was equivalent to eating 10 great tonics, causing her cultivation to advance by leaps and bounds. After being in this villa for such a long time, she had broken through repeatedly and had actually advanced to the 6th layer of the martial master realm. If she was at Yanhuang University, she would not have such a cultivation speed. Moreover, she did not cultivate much. All she did was soak in the hot spring. It could only be said that people with resources could cultivate faster than spaceships. Ordinary people could never catch up. It could be said that this hot spring was the only comfort in her maid's life. Just when Suji was secretly cursing Xiaoping, this abominable scumbag who lives a life of luxury, because she was in a good mood, she didn't look in front of her. She walked out in a daze and immediately bumped into an object in front of her. Ouch, it hurts. Why is there a wall in front of us? She covered her swollen forehead and looked ahead with a confused expression. Suddenly, she saw a tall figure appear in front of her, emitting a masculine aura. Obviously, there was only one man who could enter and exit the main villa at this time, and that was Xiaoping. Why did you come out of the training room? Have you finished your closed-door training? Suji was very surprised because Xiaoping did not appear for several days. He stayed in the training room to practice. It's over. Xiaoping nodded and looked at Suji with a smile. Your clothes are very good, very beautiful. Later on, wear it like this. Humph, don't think that just because you compliment me I will be very happy. Suji tenderly snorted and rolled her eyes at Xiaoping. She didn't know why, but when she was praised by this bad guy she always felt very happy. After all, this guy always has a cheap mouth, never praises people, and always angers people to death. Wait, clothes? That's not right. I just came out of the hot spring, wrapped in a bathrobe. How could I wear any clothes? Suddenly, she immediately woke up from her daze. She found that her body was wrapped in a bathrobe, revealing a pair of white and tender long legs. Her proud figure was faintly discernible, simply making people's blood boil. In addition to the bathrobe, she didn't wear anything else. She was in a vacuum zone. It was estimated that any man who saw her like this would not be indifferent and would turn into a wolf and pounce on her. But if it was like this, then wouldn't her whole body be seen by this shameless pervert? Suji's pretty face suddenly turned red like a tomato. Pervert. Suji spat at Xiaoping. What are you shy about? I have seen you when you were not wearing clothes. What is this now? It's just a child's play. Xiaoping expressed that this situation was nothing. He had already seen it. Shameless. Suji was so angry that her pretty face turned red. She knew that this bastard mentioned the last time in the zombie mountain. At that time she stayed in the hot spring and was seen by this man. Originally, when this happened she was very vigilant, always paying attention to whether there was a pervert peeping on her. But she didn't expect to be on guard day and night. A thief in the house is hard to guard against. In this villa she suffered a big loss. She angrily glared at Xiaoping. Her heart was incomparably flustered. She moved her white and tender long legs, wanting to run back to her room and escape from this predicament. She can't let this bad guy continue to take advantage of her. But she didn't expect that because she was too flustered. She accidentally stepped on some water on the ground. Her foot slipped and with an ah sound she fell on Xiaoping's body. Suji suddenly became anxious. She didn't expect this kind of thing to happen. If this continues, wouldn't she throw herself into this bad guy's arms? In any case, she is also a 6th heavenly layer martial master. Even if her body is out of balance, she can still circulate her qigong. She twisted her body, trying to get away from Xiaoping's body and flashed to the side. But at this time Xiaoping, out of a martial artist's instinct, dodged to the side. Unexpectedly, the two of them collided with each other, knocking Xiaoping to the ground. Suji's whole body was lying on Xiaoping's body. Her bathrobe also fell down, and her pretty face was crimson. Huh? Are you seducing me? Xiaoping blinked his eyes, looking at Suji, who forcibly pressed him to the ground. Who seduced you? Let me go, pervert. Suji's pretty face was crimson. She was so ashamed that she wanted to die. She felt that this bastard absolutely did it on purpose. Otherwise, she would have definitely dodged instead of colliding with him and falling to the ground together. What are you doing? Chapter 845. Nothing. Suji stuttered. Even if you beat her to death, she would never have thought that Zhang Yaru would appear at this time, and at the worst possible time. Right now, even if she had 8 mouths, she still wouldn't be able to explain the situation. Nothing. Zhang Yaru chuckled. She had already pushed a man to the ground and dressed like this, and she still said she didn't do anything? Would anyone believe her? She didn't expect that Suji, who was conservative and arrogant in the school, would actually be so shameless in this place, to the point that she has no face at all. Early in the morning, she actually dressed like this to seduce a man. It could only be said that she was indeed a woman of the Su family. She had the blood of a demon fox flowing in her veins. This kind of ability was innate, and it was exuded from her bones. She believed that if she didn't accidentally pass by this place and happen to encounter this kind of situation, perhaps these two men and women would have already started to do something. It would definitely be a dry wood and a raging fire. Yeah, I really didn't do anything. Without waiting for Suji to speak, Xiaoping opened his mouth and said, "Actually, this was really just an accident. After I came to the hot spring bathroom, Suji just happened to come out. I didn't expect that while walking, she would suddenly fall on top of me, knocking me to the ground. In fact, she didn't do it on purpose." Accident, my ass. Zhang Yaru clenched her teeth. Walking on top of a flat ground, she could even fall on top of a man. Who would believe her if she said it wasn't on purpose? Did she really think she was an idiot? Moreover, Suji was a martial master at the 6th layer. It would be difficult for a martial master like her to fall even if she was attacked fiercely. How could there be such a strange method of falling on top of a man? If this woman didn't do it on purpose, how could she fall on top of a man? This shameless woman definitely saw an opportunity. Dressed like this, she inadvertently fell in front of a man. I can't help but feel pity for her. Just ask which man could stand this kind of woman. If it wasn't for her sudden appearance, this woman would have really succeeded, and the uncooked rice would have been cooked. Suji, I didn't expect that you usually say no, but your body is quite honest. You usually don't fall, but at the critical moment you fall. Zhang Yaru disdainfully said, revealing a look as if he had seen through Suji's intentions. Using this kind of underhanded method to seduce a man, and you still want to hide it? You're simply dreaming. It's not what you think. I really did fall. Suji wanted to cry but had no tears. Being told by this bastard man, she simply can't wash herself clean even if she jumped into the Yellow River. How could he explain it like this? The more he tries to explain it, the darker it gets. But she also knew that if she put herself in his shoes and saw this situation, she probably wouldn't believe everything that the other party said. No matter what, facts speak louder than words. Fine, I don't care if you really fell or not. Do you still want to lie on a man's body? Are you going to stay in bed and not get up? Zhang Yaru said in a bad mood. She didn't want to continue watching this kind of embarrassing scene. I can't stand up. She doesn't know why, but when Suji fell on the man's body, her body felt soft, unable to exert even a little bit of strength. Her pretty face was as red as a tomato. Can't stand up? Zhang Yaru clenched her teeth. What a dignified excuse. This woman's skin is simply thick to the extreme. She has no sense of shame. She wants to lie on a man's body and not get up. Is she waiting for me to leave so that she can start doing all kinds of shameless things? It's okay. If you can't stand up, I'll help you. As soon as her voice fell, Xiaoping hugged Suji's waist and said with a smile, but your body is indeed not bad. I really like it. Who told you to comment on my body? Pervert. Suji was angered half to death. Regarding this situation, she was very ashamed and annoyed. But she had no other choice but to let Xiaoping hug her. Humph, I'm too lazy to care about you guys. Zhang Yaru snorted, looked at Xiaoping and Suji with contempt, and directly walked into the hot spring bathroom, intending to take a bath. An hour later, this news spread throughout the villa and was known by many of the maids. Oh my God, did you hear? This morning, the head maid fell on the ground and directly fell on the master's body. It almost got out of hand. That's right. It's said that if Miss Zhang Yaru didn't happen to pass by, the two of them would have been cooked. She's worthy of being the head maid. Her methods are brilliant. She even used a high-level technique like falling on the ground. If I were a man, I probably wouldn't be able to hold myself back. Which man could resist? Not only is she beautiful, she's also proficient in all kinds of seducing techniques. She's simply invincible. I reckon that sooner or later, the master will also be caught by the head maid. It's a pity that Miss Zhongyar's childhood sweetheart appeared. Otherwise, the head maid would have definitely succeeded. She failed on the verge of success. She was just one step away from success. Unfortunately, she killed her way out. It doesn't matter. This is actually the head maid's strategy. Step by step. If she does it a few more times, she won't be afraid that the master won't give in. A few more times, I reckon the master will lose his rationality and directly turn into a beast. I just like the master's beastly appearance. Many of the maids chattered about the gossip that happened this morning. They all admired the head maid's blatant behavior. Her methods were too brilliant. Compared to a mature woman like the head maid, they didn't know how far they were. The difference was too big. They weren't even on the same level. At this time, Suji also put on her clothes and walked out of the bedroom. Before, Xiaoping only carried her to the bedroom and didn't do anything. But even so, she was so shy that she couldn't lift her head. After all, being carried by a man like this and even into the bedroom, this was the first time. She had never experienced this before. This was enough to make her shy and unbearable. Now that she came out, she heard these maids gossiping and spreading rumors everywhere. She was simply angry. It was obviously just an ordinary fall, but in the eyes of these young maids, she became a woman with brilliant methods and deep schemes. She didn't even know when she became a master in seducing men. The head maid is here. A young maid immediately saw Suji coming and immediately called out. She really came. I heard about this morning's matter. The head maid did a good job. Yes, we must defeat that childhood sweetheart. The head maid is the most promising. That's right. I support the head maid the most. I believe that as long as the head maid uses some small tricks, any man will be easily captured. Head maid, when will you spread some experience to us newbies? We are in urgent need of this knowledge. A group of maids came forward and surrounded Suji. They wanted Suji to impart some experience. Chapter 846. At this moment, the upper echelons of the giant company were having a meeting. Many kings were present. All of them had a solemn expression on their faces. I believe everyone has received the news. An old man in white robes was the first to speak. This time the myriad monster mountain has finally made up their mind. They plan to open the path of the Demon King, and let their descendants become Demon Kings. This matter is extremely serious. We have to be alert. He looked at the kings present. His gaze was filled with a powerful sense of majesty. It was like a divine light that pierced through space. What? The path of the Demon King? Is it the legendary training space left behind by the ancient demon race? It is said that once one passes this training space, becoming a Demon King is a sure thing. However, this path is too difficult and dangerous. Even the geniuses of the demon race have a high chance of dying. Also, every time it is opened, it requires a large amount of energy. The myriad monster mountain hasn't opened it for thousands of years. This time, the Thousand Monster Mountain has lost 7 Demon Kings. They have suffered heavy losses. This is already enough to make them ponder over this painful lesson. So they have made up their minds to let many master demons have the chance to advance to Demon King. Although it is a small chance of dying, to some geniuses it is a huge opportunity. They might not die. One can imagine that once they pass the path of the Demon King, a large number of Demon Kings will appear. Their strength will increase greatly. At that time, humans will be in danger. The eyes of many kings flashed. They could feel the seriousness of this matter. Once a large number of Demon Kings appeared, it would be a huge pressure on humans. Even if they couldn't destroy the human race, they could easily pose a huge threat to human cities or destroy a few human cities. Hence, to deal with this matter, the Federation requested our giant company to open a historical site to increase the strength of elite human cultivators and increase the chance of them breaking through to the king level. The old man in white robes said in a low voice, "Historical site." Hearing this, many kings were shocked. The reason why humans could become so strong was because they obtained many precious historical sites from ancient times. Some of these historical sites had advanced weapons that were countless years ahead of humans. Some historical sites had their own space with countless precious herbs growing there. Some even had precious martial inheritances and treasures. It could be said that once one stepped into the ruins and came out alive, they would become rich overnight with boundless benefits. This was humanity's supreme treasure, the greatest land of treasures. However, it was not easy to open the ruins. It required a large amount of resources, and the ruins were extremely dangerous. There was a slim chance of survival. Therefore, they had to be extremely cautious every time they explored the ruins, and they would not open it easily. Of course, this isn't just limited to our giant company. The Life Company and the Aurora Company will also open up a ruin to increase the strength of the Grandmasters. The white-robed old man continued, so let's pass the message down. Let the elite adepts of the giant corporation gather together and enter the ruins. He gave the order. Yes. Many king tiers nodded. They planned to inform their descendants to participate. After all, being able to enter a relic would definitely bring them great benefits. There were even masters who had found the opportunity to break through to the king level. This was a great opportunity that could not be missed. Very quickly, this news was passed down to every elite adept in the giant company. Many grandmasters received the news, and all of them were extremely excited. What? The giant company is about to open the ruins, and they want the elite adepts to participate? This is too great. I have waited for so many years, and this opportunity has finally arrived. I must participate in the ruins this time. I have been stuck at the peak of the Grandmaster realm for tens of years. If I still cannot break through, I will never be able to touch the king realm in this lifetime. It is said that there are countless secret treasures in the ruins, and there are shocking inheritances. There might even be pills that can help one break through to the king realm. I lack a supreme martial arts inheritance. If I cannot make up for my martial arts foundation, I will have no hope of becoming a king in this lifetime. This trip to the ruins should be able to fulfill my wish. If I can get a treasure in the ruins, my strength will multiply, and I will be able to do anything. This is such a great opportunity. If we miss this opportunity, we won't get another one. Many elite adepts were extremely excited. Everyone knew about the various legends in the ruins. There were peerless treasures, unparalleled pills, supreme martial arts inheritances, and so on. Once they obtained it, they would soar into the sky. Who knew how many kings had been created in the ruins? If they missed this rare opportunity, they would be struck by lightning. Even if there were great dangers in the ruins, wouldn't there be no danger in adventuring and training? To be able to advance to the Grandmaster realm, which one of them hadn't experienced a narrow escape from death? How could a mere danger scare them? Some of the elite adepts were adventuring on an island in the endless sea in search of spirit herbs, but after receiving this news, they immediately gave up and returned to the giant island. Some of the elite adepts were cultivating alone in the desert, fighting against the heavens and the earth, using everything as their master. But at this time they also gave up and returned to the giant island. Some of the elite adepts were still cultivating in seclusion, but their relatives and friends directly woke them up, forcing them to come out. Otherwise, if they missed this opportunity, they would regret it for the rest of their lives. There were also some who were chasing after their enemies, but they also gave up. Compared to the opportunity to advance to the king realm, the chance to chase after their enemies was nothing. Once they advanced to the king realm, what enemies couldn't they kill? No matter what they were doing in the outside world, no matter how far they were, these elite adepts would immediately return without hesitation. There were also some who couldn't make it back. All of them were pounding their chests in regret. Oh! At this time, Xiaoping, who was in the villa, also received this news. All the elite adepts are going to the headquarters of the giant company to gather. A ruin is about to open. It can't be there's such a good thing? Xiaoping looked at his communicator and immediately received this news. His eyes widened and his heart palpitated. Ever since he was young, the term ruin had appeared in all kinds of textbooks. It was because humans had obtained many ruins and inheritances that they were able to defeat the monsters of planet Yen Huang. They even entered the cloud realm and expanded their territory, expanding the living space of humans and making them stronger and stronger. Technological weapons, pills, spirit herbs, martial Dao inheritances, and so on. Every item in the ruins was incomparably powerful and mysterious, making countless people yearn for it. Although Xiaoping had extorted those demon kings and killed a few demon kings to obtain a lot of wealth, compared to the ruins it was just a drop in the ocean. It was nothing. Once he successfully returned from the ruins alive, The benefits he would obtain were simply unimaginable. I want to enter this ruin too. Chapter 847. At this moment, Xiaoping was driving an anti-gravity sports car through the air, rapidly flying toward the headquarters of the giant company. This sports car was specially allocated to the villa by the giant company. After all, spaceships were only long-distance transportation tools, while sports cars were used in the city. They were widely used and could be seen everywhere on the streets. This sports car could also be driven automatically. As long as the owner entered the command for the destination, it could lie down and sleep in the car until they reached the destination. How lively! Xiaoping glanced outside the car window. There were rows upon rows of tall buildings with people coming and going. It was abnormally bustling, and everyone's cultivation base was very high. At the very least, they were at the martial master realm. One could say that the people living on the giant island were basically the elites of humanity. Experts were as common as the clouds. This also caused the giant island to be incomparably prosperous. All sorts of expensive sports cars could be seen everywhere. Rumble, all of a sudden, an anti-gravity car beside him went out of control. It was like a wild horse that had broken free of its reins and charged toward his sports car. Its speed was extremely fast, reaching 200 to 300 kilometers per hour. Without a doubt, once this sports car collided with his, it would instantly turn into scrap metal. Even the people inside might be heavily injured. Car accident? Xiaoping's eyes flashed. He immediately opened the cover of the sports car, revealing the sunroof. His entire person was like a cannonball as he jumped out from his seat. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the two cars immediately collided. Xiaoping's sports car was deformed and dented from the impact. The steel was twisted and turned into a pile of scrap metal, emitting a large amount of sparks. Even the car that went out of control instantly exploded, transforming into a huge ball of flames. The heat waves surged and swept out in all directions. Kunpeng steps. Xiaoping didn't panic. His silhouette flickered as wings appeared on his back. In an instant, he was several hundred meters away from the center of the explosion. He could be considered to have escaped the danger zone and wasn't affected by the explosion. However, the surrounding cars were in a miserable state. They were affected by the terrifying airwaves and were blown away. They collided one after another. This was a chain of accidents. In an instant, more than 10 cars collided with each other, making loud bangs. MHM. All of a sudden, a cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. He could sense a fluctuation that ordinary martial artists wouldn't be able to detect in the thick smoke from the explosion. Every cell in his body was trembling. A terrifying killing intent spread throughout his body. It was as though his aura was locked onto by a peerless, ferocious beast. He had nowhere to escape. Xiao. In the blink of an eye, a silver cold light flashed across the sky like a meteor falling from the sky. The cold light was like a ray of light in the dark night, like a rainbow piercing through the sun. Immediately, an extremely sharp dagger pierced towards his heart. The attack was vicious and sinister. There was no intention of showing any mercy at all. This was a fatal killing intent. Moreover, this speed was extremely fast, breaking through 8 times the speed of sound and tearing through the air. This was a terrifying speed that ordinary evolved Jing masters would not be able to react to. Faced with this fatal attack, ordinary evolved Jing masters could only close their eyes and wait for death. Dark North Body Protection Technique. Xiaoping snorted coldly. He immediately ran the Dark North Body Protection skill. Standing in the air without moving, a transparent aura shield with a diameter of 2 or 3 meters appeared around his body. This astral energy shield was layered on top of each other, as if there were hundreds of layers of seals on it. There was a constant flow of air, forming a huge vortex with his body as the center. It was as if a large amount of air was being devoured, forming a vacuum. Dong! The dagger pierced forward with unparalleled sharpness, trying to pierce through the astral energy shield and pierce through Xiaoping's heart, completely ending his life. What? The killer was shocked and could not believe his eyes, because he was determined to stab, and it was a special method to break the astral energy shield. But when his dagger pierced through, it was as if it had fallen into a swamp. The dagger was surrounded and swallowed by countless airflows, and no power could be used. At this time its true body was revealed. Its whole body was dark like a shadow. It was impossible to see its true face, and its whole body exuded a gloomy and evil aura. Originally it wanted to escape, but its whole body was sucked in by this vortex airflow. In a short time, no matter how it struggled, it could not get rid of this astral energy vortex. Shadow demon? Xia Ping instantly recognized the true identity of this killer, because when he was at Yanhuang University, he had been assassinated by a shadow demon of the Supreme Master level. At that time, the shadow demon was killed by Qiushu and suppressed on the spot. But he did not expect that after coming to the giant island, these shadow demons would not go away, and they even followed him. At this moment, they brazenly attacked and wanted to end his life. You are courting death. Xia Ping snorted coldly, and his killing intent was soaring. Since the other party wanted to kill him, he would not show any mercy, and he slapped the air. The power of this palm was terrible, and it was the terrible attack of the Supreme Master at the 4th level. The palm contained the unparalleled power of Gang Qi, which was invincible and strong enough to penetrate gold and crack stones. Stop! At this time, an angry shout came from the side. As if feeling the infinite power of this palm, 2 or 3 shadow demons of the Supreme Master level appeared in the air again. They were divided into 3 directions, and in an instant, they rushed over with sharp daggers in their hands. They made a peerless stab at an incredible speed. There was no doubt that they wanted to attack Xia Ping's vital parts, hoping that Xia Ping would give up the idea of killing his companions. If it were an ordinary Supreme Master, he would have been frightened by this attack. Unfortunately, Xia Ping was not an ordinary person. He did not care about the attacks of the other 3 shadow demons at all. He still operated the Gang Qi in his body, and slapped down in the air like a roaring dragon. Bang! The shadow demon killer had no time to escape, and was immediately slapped on the head by this palm. With a crack, its head was immediately smashed into a mass of meat sauce, and blood burst out like fireworks. Bastard human! The 3 shadow demons of the Supreme Master were stunned, and their eyes were red. One of their companions had died. For them it was almost the same as the death of their parents, and their hearts were boiling with killing intent. They wanted to catch Xia Ping and kill him to avenge their hatred. Stupid! Xia Ping sneered and operated the North Dark Body Protection skill. There seemed to be an illusion in the void, and a rock appeared behind him, swallowing and nibbling, forming a terrible vortex of Gang Qi. Immediately, before the 3 shadow demons of the Supreme Master level approached Xia Ping, their bodies were surrounded by the vortex of Gang Qi, and various forces were constantly pulling them crazily, and their bodies were a little torn. Go to hell. Chapter 848. When the car accident happened, Xia Ping was assassinated by 4 Grandmaster Shadow Monsters, and then the 4 Shadow Monsters were killed with one punch, and their bodies were torn apart. All of this happened in an instant. When the people around knew what happened, the 4 Shadow Monsters were killed on the spot, without a whole body. My God, what happened just now? Shadow Monster, there was a Shadow Monster before. It was to assassinate this young man. It can't be. Is this the strongest assassination race of the demon race, the Shadow Monster? It actually appeared on the giant island. What is the background of this young man? And even provoked the Shadow Monsters to kill him. Amazing, a series of assassinations, carefully planned, interlocking. First there was a car accident, and then the Shadow Monsters came out and set a fatal trap, wanting to kill with one blow. I didn't expect it to be broken by this young man. And the 4 Shadow Monsters died on the spot. I know this young man. He seems to be the champion of the genius battle, Xia Ping. No wonder these damn Shadow Monsters have been assassinating the geniuses of our human race. Sooner or later this race will be destroyed. It is simply a cancer. He is indeed the champion of the genius battle, the pride of our human race. Even in the face of assassination, he is still fearless, but he killed the 4 Shadow Monster Grandmasters with his bare hands. He is really powerful. I am ashamed of my inferiority. Indeed, if it was an ordinary Grandmaster, he would have been killed long ago. How could he survive? Many people were shocked by the scene just now. After all, who has experienced being besieged by 4 Grandmaster Shadow Monsters? Except for the king level, this is a fatal trap that will definitely kill. For ordinary Grandmasters, it is estimated that a Grandmaster Shadow Monster can easily deal with them, stabbing the heart with a knife, and then escaping thousands of miles away, silently, guaranteed that no one will find out. In fact, they often do this, secretly attacking, killing with one knife. Often before others find out, these shadow monsters disappear. Not many people can find their whereabouts. Once their bodies become shadows, it is difficult to catch their traces. This is an extremely strong escape skill. But unfortunately, these shadow monsters encountered Xiaoping. With one knife, they fell into the mud, were controlled tightly, revealed flaws, and were killed by Xiaoping with one palm. It can be said that Xiaoping, who has the Dark North body protection technique, is simply the nemesis of this group of shadow monsters. These demon race killers are really stubborn. Today is different from the past. Do they think I will be killed by a grandmaster like before? You overestimate yourself. Xiaoping sneered. Back at Yanhuang University, when he was assassinated by Grandmaster Ng Yao, he was powerless to fight back. If Qiushu hadn't suddenly intervened, he would have been dead. But now that he had been promoted to the fourth heaven of the supreme power realm, his strength was unparalleled. Even an ordinary sixth heaven or seventh heaven of the supreme power realm might not be a match for Xiaoping. These shadow demons thought that he could easily kill him. What a joke. Today he was no longer an ignorant person. Even if it was a Grandmaster shadow demon, he could still easily kill it. However, there was also a sense of crisis in his heart. If these shadow demons found out that his strength was not to be underestimated, it was estimated that the next assassination would not only be a Grandmaster-level shadow demon, but also a king-level shadow demon. If he did not increase his strength as soon as possible, he would be killed by the demon clan assassins sooner or later. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At that moment, police cars arrived quickly. They had received news that there had been a traffic accident, and that a shadow demon had tried to assassinate a human genius. So they quickly rushed over to deal with the case. Mr. Xia, I wonder what just happened? A policeman came up and asked. Xiaoping immediately told the police what had just happened. He told them everything in detail without missing a single detail. Okay, the policeman said solemnly. I will tell the federal government about this and let them deal with it seriously. This is a major diplomatic incident. They will definitely protest to the demon clan and seek justice. He was also very angry about this matter. This was the giant island, one of the core territories of the human clan. Now, it was invaded by shadow demons at will, and they even tried to assassinate a human genius. If these shadow demons really succeeded, he was afraid that the giant island would become a joke. Okay, I will leave this matter to you. I still have something to do at the headquarters of the giant company. Xiaoping nodded. After saying this, he left the place and left this matter to the police. Anyway, this matter had nothing to do with him anymore. There was not much point in continuing to stay here. 10 minutes later, Xiaoping took a taxi and arrived at the headquarters of the giant company. In front of him was a huge wall that was at least a few thousand meters tall. This was simply like a great wall made of steel. With a single glance, one couldn't see the end of it. It was incomparably majestic. Through the employee card of the giant company, Xiaoping walked in. He discovered that inside the wall, there were many tall buildings that were 3,000 stories tall. They were so tall that they pierced through the clouds. They were simply mountains that were tens of thousands of meters tall. The entire headquarters seemed to be surrounded by a huge energy shield that was incomparably sturdy. Even if a nuclear bomb were to blast it, it wouldn't be able to break through this energy shield. It was impregnable. May I ask if you are Mr. Xiaoping? Not long after entering the headquarters of the giant company, Xiaoping was stopped by a staff member wearing a black suit. Yes. Xiaoping nodded. The worker smiled. I have been waiting for a long time. The ancestral masters are having a gathering in the 8th plaza. I am the guide and am in charge of receiving the ancestral masters. Please follow me now. He bowed. Xiaoping nodded. The area of the headquarters of the giant company was extremely huge. If there was no one to lead the way, one would definitely get lost in this huge kingdom. Not long later, he followed the worker to the plaza. At this moment, the plaza was already filled with ancestral masters. There were at least 1,000 of them. So. When Xiaoping appeared, the gazes of many ancestral masters immediately focused on him. This was because his appearance was simply too young. There was even a hint of immaturity on his face. Clearly, he wasn't that old. When compared to Xia Ping, many ancestral masters appeared much older. They were at least 30 or 40 years old, and some were even over 100 years old. All of them were old enough to be Xia Ping's grandfathers. This is the legendary Xia Ping, the most anticipated newcomer of the giant company this year? That's right. It's said that the moment he entered the giant island, he was assigned to the core region and obtained a villa. It can't be, right? That is the region where kings reside. Even ancestral masters like us don't have the qualifications to obtain a villa, and can only stay in the outer region. This brat actually got one? This is too unfair. There's no helping it. He is only 19 years old and is already an ancestral master. In the future, he might even become an unrivaled king. His future is boundless. Many ancestral masters had complicated expressions on their faces as they stared at Xia Ping. Their hearts were filled with complex emotions. Comparing oneself to others was truly infuriating. They had only reached the ancestral master realm at such an old age. But this brat was actually good. He had just entered university not long ago, and had already stepped into the ancestral master realm. His cultivation speed was simply so fast that it was terrifying. Xia Ping. Chapter 849. Hearing this voice, Xia Ping looked over and saw a man in a black suit coming over. He was tall 1.95 meters with bulging muscles and a scar on his face. He stood there, exuding a violent momentum, just like a furious lion. The people around him were oppressed by his momentum and could hardly get close. At this moment his eyes were red, staring at Xia Ping with murderous eyes. "Who are you?" Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He had never seen this guy before, but he didn't know why the man seemed to be very angry with him and even had a trace of killing intent. "My name is Wang Dongcheng, Wang Rulong's elder brother." The man in black stared at Xia Ping and said, "Let me ask you something. Wang Rulong and my uncle Tong also went to the Myriad Treasures Island. Did you see them?" He knew that Wang Rulong and his uncle Tong had gone to the Myriad Treasures Island to hunt down Xia Ping. It was impossible for them not to have met Xia Ping. But now Wang Rulong, Wang Tong, and a large number of elites of the Wang family had disappeared. There was no news from the Myriad Treasures Island, which shocked the Wang family. After all, they were a large number of masters of the Wang family. If they died on the Myriad Treasures Island, it would be an unimaginable loss for the Wang family. He had been unable to contact Xia Ping before, so he had no way to know what had happened to Wang Rulong and Wang Tong. Now that he finally had the opportunity to meet them here, he immediately went forward to ask. "I see, it's Wang Rulong's elder brother. I did see them on the Myriad Treasures Island." Xia Ping nodded. Not only had he seen them, but he had also killed all of them, not leaving a single one alive. He reckoned that they had all become food for the monsters on Treasure Island, with not even their bones remaining. "What?" Wang Dongqing immediately asked. "Where are they now? Why haven't they come back after such a long time on the Myriad Treasures Island?" "Maybe they are dead," Xia Ping said casually. Wang Dongqing's expression immediately changed. "Impossible. My uncle Tong has reached the 6th stage of the Supreme Power Realm. He can come and go freely on the Myriad Treasures Island. There are also a large number of masters of the Wang family. What could kill them? Did you secretly murder them?" He was very suspicious. After all, Wang Rulong and the others had planned to plot against Xia Ping. Since they had met, there must have been a conflict. Perhaps Xia Ping had used a trick to kill his brother and uncle. "You can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want." Xia Ping stood with his hands clasped behind his back and flatly denied. "Why would I murder a human grandmaster for no reason? Each of them is a treasure of the human race, the main force in the fight against the demon race. Each of them is extremely important. Although you said that Wang Tong and the others are grandmasters and it is impossible for them to die on Myriad Treasures Island, the truth is that even the 5 great demon kings died this time. Who else can't die? Maybe they were unlucky to encounter the 5 great demon kings and were killed like bugs." When the people in the surroundings heard this, they nodded in agreement. This was indeed very possible. Only a king tier would be able to kill a large number of evolved Jing masters and not a single one of them could escape. If the people of the Wang clan were to encounter the 5 great demon kings, they would truly be out of luck. If they were all killed, it was only natural that they wouldn't be able to send news back. This is just your side of the story. Where is the evidence? What evidence do you have to prove that you didn't murder them? Wang Dongqing sneered. He didn't believe Xiaoping's words at all. Follow me to the laboratory and take a lie detector test. If you can prove that you didn't lie under the laboratory, then I will believe you. He wanted Xiaoping to take a lie detector test to prove whether Xiaoping's words were true or not. Nowadays, technology was extremely advanced. Under the equipment, it could basically detect that more than 99% of people were lying. It was extremely advanced and was specially used to solve cases, detect spies, and so on. Lie detector test. Xiaoping sneered. If a tiger didn't show its might, it would be treated as a sick cat. This Wang Dongqing was really insatiable. Who did he think Xiaoping was? Who did he think he was? The surrounding grandmasters all frowned. They felt that Wang Dongqing was a bit too much. Asking a grandmaster to take a lie detector test was a great insult. It was clearly doubting the character of a grandmaster. If it wasn't to the point of no return, no one would do such a thing. However, this Wang Dongqing was using a groundless accusation to ask Xiaoping to take a lie detector test. He simply didn't put Xiaoping in his eyes. If Xiaoping was an ordinary person, then it would be fine. However, Xiaoping was a grandmaster. His status was noble. How could he be tested so easily? What did it mean to be a grandmaster? Interesting. If I take the lie detector test and prove that I didn't lie, then shouldn't you go die and commit suicide as an apology? Xiaoping sneered. He stared at Wang Dongqing with a murderous look in his eyes. He wasn't afraid of the lie detector test at all. With the system here, no high-tech equipment could have any effect on him. No matter how many times he was tested, what he said was the truth. However, just because he wasn't afraid of the lie detector test didn't mean that he would let Wang Dongqing do whatever he wanted. Commit suicide as an apology? What are you talking about? If you prove that you didn't lie, then you will be able to prove your innocence. This will eliminate a great enemy of my Wang clan. This is the greatest benefit. Yet, you want me to commit suicide as an apology? Are you crazy? Wang Dongqing felt that Xiaoping was crazy. He asked Xiaoping to take a lie detector test for the sake of the other party and to prove his innocence. Now, he actually wanted him to commit suicide as an apology. If this wasn't crazy, then what was? Daring to insult a grandmaster is a capital offense. Xiaoping's killing intent sword. Using a groundless accusation to slander me is the greatest insult to a grandmaster. If I don't die as an apology, how can I appease the anger of a grandmaster? You want me to take a lie detector test? Sure, but you have to pay the price. Bet your life. Once I prove that I didn't lie, then you can die. You don't even have this kind of awareness, yet you want to slander a grandmaster? What kind of place do you think this is? What kind of person do you think a grandmaster is? Do you think that by relying on the Wang clan, you can do whatever you want in the giant company? Let me tell you, you have come to the wrong place. Many grandmasters deeply agreed. Grandmasters were lofty existences. Other than kings, they were the strongest. In the military, they would be generals, marshals, and in the various martial arts organizations, they would be higher-ups with high status and authority. How could such a character be so easily humiliated? Daring to question a grandmaster without paying the price? Where was the dignity of a grandmaster? Did he think a grandmaster was a nobody? Wang Dongqing was shocked and angered. He thought that with the power of the Wang clan, even if this brat was in grandmaster, how would he dare to offend the King clan? Wouldn't it be easy to intimidate him a little? But now this brat was extremely arrogant. If he wanted him to take a lie detector test, he would have to pay with his life. Chapter 850. Tell me, do you dare to take the bet? Xiaoping looked down and said aggressively, I'll take the lie test with your life. Don't you think I murdered Wang Rulong and the others? Why don't you dare to take the bet? As long as it's proven that I'm lying, I won't have to die. Of course, once it's proven that I'm telling the truth, you'll be insulting a guru, and you'll have to pay for it with your life. He forced Wang Dongqing, giving him only two choices. Me. Wang Dongqing was so angry that his face turned blue and purple. As a direct descendant of the Wang family and an expert at the 5th level of the Supreme Power Realm, he had been superior since he was a child. He had never encountered such a dilemma. Although he suspected that the disappearance of his younger brothers Wang Rulong and Wang Tong had a lot to do with this guy, he was not 100% sure. If this guy really didn't lie, he would be dead. He would have to be crazy to gamble with his life on such an ambiguous matter. Let's go and make a life and death contract now. Don't you want to know the truth? Let's go to the lie test now. Xia Ping didn't wait for Wang Dongqing's reply and grabbed him with his big hand. Boom! This gigantic hand seemed to be able to pierce through the void. No air was able to obstruct this gigantic hand at all. The 5 fingers of this hand carried with it a terrifying force. In the air there were dozens of chi strengths. These chi strengths were like tough nylon ropes, instantly covering Wang Dongqing in the air. It was like an eagle trying to catch a chick, trying to capture Wang Dongqing. Bastard, what do you want to do? Wang Dongqing's hair stood on end, and he had goosebumps all over his body. An uncontrollable fear spread all over his body, as if he had fallen into an ice cave. He felt that Xia Ping's claw was extremely terrible. It was not like a rookie who had just entered the Supreme Power Realm, but a big shot who had been immersed in the Supreme Power Realm for decades. His every move seemed to have the momentum to attract the power of heaven and earth. When the claw came, he felt that he couldn't move it, which reminded him of the powerlessness of drowning in the ocean when he didn't know how to swim when he was a child. It seemed that at this moment his body was completely locked by the opponent, and there was nowhere to escape. But Wang Dongqing was also at the 5th level of the Supreme Power Realm, and his Gangqi was incredibly strong. When he used the Wang family's unique skill, the Azure Dragon skill, there seemed to be an Azure Dragon roaring in the void. Dong! A violent protective Gangqi erupted from his body, trying to shake off Xia Ping's claw. But it was useless. Xia Ping was not an ignorant person today. He had been promoted to the 4th heaven of Supreme Power Realm, absorbed the geocentric Ganoderma, and also absorbed the soul crystal to strengthen his soul. His strength had reached an incredible level. Even an ordinary master at the 7th heaven of Supreme Realm would probably be beaten to a pulp by Xia Ping now. Anyone below the 6th heaven of Supreme Realm would be killed by him with one punch. Wang Dongqing's struggle was like that of an ant. How could he resist the giant's palm? Boom! This claw was like a hot knife through butter. The air vibrated thousands of times, instantly shattering Wang Dongqing's aura shield into dust. A deep crater with a diameter of tens of meters appeared on the ground. The surrounding evolved Jing masters all felt the terror of this attack. Afraid that they would be implicated, they all used their peerless movement techniques to dodge the terrifying aftermath of this attack. Ah! Wang Dongqing screamed. He couldn't resist and was hit by this claw in an instant. His whole body was shaken dozens of times, and his lungs were severely injured. He was caught like a dead dog and fell at Xia Ping's feet, unable to resist. With a puff, he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood, which dyed the whole ground red. So strong! Many evolved Jing masters were shocked. They could see that Xia Ping was now at the 4th heaven of Supreme Realm. Facing Wang Dongqing, a strong master at the 5th heaven of Supreme Realm, he should be at a disadvantage. At least, his Gangqi was no match for Wang Dongqing at all. There was a gap of 12 acupoints of Gangqi. For ordinary evolved Jing masters the gap was huge. But now it was different. Wang Dongqing was at an absolute disadvantage. He was caught by Xia Ping like a chicken. The aura shield on his body exploded in an instant, and he had no way to resist. With just one claw, he had defeated a master at the 5th heaven of Supreme Realm. This strength was simply amazing. Before, they had only heard of Xia Ping's strength on the news. They knew that this young man was extraordinary, but now they really saw the horror of this peerless genius. In terms of using all kinds of Gangqi, he was not a rookie who had just entered the Supreme Realm, but an old fox who had been immersed in this realm for decades. They couldn't imagine that this was a 19-year-old young man. It was too exaggerated, and his performance was amazing. You dare to shout at me with such little strength? Your cultivation is useless. Xia Ping condescendingly said, I won't talk nonsense with you. Sign a life and death contract with me. Now go to the lie test. Once it is proved that I am not lying, I will kill you on the spot and send your head directly back to the Wang family to warn others. Let's see which trash dares to shout at me again. He just wanted to catch Wang Dongcheng and directly sign a life and death contract. No, 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 I won't sign it, I won't sign it. Wang Dongcheng was so scared that he peed his pants. His face was pale and his whole body was trembling. A large area of his pants was wet. Now he regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. This was a peerless, fierce god who dared to kill the descendant of the Demon King, and even caught him to auction. Even though he was chased by the 5 Demon Kings, he did not die. Instead, he caused the death of the Hua family's king. His life was simply harder than a stone. Some people said that this guy was simply the bane of others, specializing in killing others, but he himself was alive and kicking. How could a small figure like him contend with such a fierce god? He actually jumped out recklessly. Wasn't he courting death? Now, before he found the truth, he was caught by this fierce god and had to sign a life and death contract. His life was frozen and he would not be able to see the sun tomorrow. Now he also began to believe that this matter was not done by Xia Ping, at least not directly. Otherwise, this guy would not dare to be so arrogant and choose to take a lie test with him. Cough, cough. Suddenly a coughing sound rang out. It seemed to contain an unimaginable power. The sound spread out, causing the cultivators present to stop circulating their astral energy. Immediately, an old man wearing a white robe flew through the air and appeared in front of everyone just like that. Many of the cultivators immediately recognized him. This was a king of the giant corporation and also the person in charge of this trip to the relic. His name was Zhao Zhong and he was also an unimaginably important figure. What exactly happened? King Zhao Zhong asked. His eyes contained a divine light, and he had an irresistible aura, like a high mountain. Xia Ping's eyes flashed. Before this, he had seen the Ox Demon King, the Cat Demon King, the Snake Demon King, and the other 5 Demon Kings. Hu Yongming had also seen human kings, but these kings could not be compared to this old man. They were simply not on the same level. Chapter 851. Hearing King Zhaozhong's question, someone immediately went up and told him what had happened. Mr. Zhao. Seeing King Zhao's arrival, Wang Dongqing acted as though he had seen reinforcements. He immediately complained and shouted, "Hurry up and capture this lawless bastard." He actually dared to start a fight in the headquarters of the giant company. This is simply disregarding the rules of the giant company. He doesn't even place the company's rules in his eyes. If we don't punish this brat harshly in the future, will there still be people who will listen to our giant company? His voice was stern and he demanded the giant company to punish Xia Ping. Shut up. Zhao Zhong coldly spoke. I know who is right and who is wrong in this matter. Do you think you are in the right just because you spoke louder? Who gave you the right to question an evolved master? You have no evidence and yet you dare to casually spread rumors and insult the reputation of an evolved master. You should be considered lucky that we didn't kill you on the spot. You actually dared to complain. Due to your vile behavior today, you don't need to participate in this expedition. Pack up your things and go home. He chased Wang Dongqing out of this place. What? Hearing this, Wang Dongqing's expression drastically changed. To an evolved master, this expedition was simply a huge opportunity. It was equivalent to an ordinary person getting rich overnight. It was something that could only be discovered and not sought. Now, he was actually chased out of this expedition. This was simply killing his path to becoming a king. He was simply crazy. He didn't expect Zhao Zhong to actually dare to do this. Mr. Zhao. Wang Dongqing immediately cursed, "You can't do this, I'm a member of the Wang family. My Wang family's ancestor has a relationship with the giant company, and I've also made great contributions to the giant company. How can you do this to me? Just because I offended a bastard, you actually want to chase me out of this expedition? This is too ridiculous. Is your mother's brain flooded with water? If my Wang clan's ancestor heard this news, what would he think? This is unfair to my Wang clan, unfair." He was simply infuriated and didn't care about anything else. Everyone was dumbfounded. Who would have thought that Wang Dongqing would actually dare to say such words? He even scolded King Zhao for having water flooded his brain. His guts were simply boundless. What gave him such courage? Bang! Zhao Zhong didn't waste time talking nonsense with him. He slapped Wang Dongcheng with his palm, like a giant crushing an ant. Wang Dongcheng fainted on the ground with a single slap. He foamed at the mouth and his eyes turned white. He couldn't speak anymore. It was estimated that he would not be able to wake up for several days. Drag him away. Tell him that Wang Dongcheng withdrew from the ruins operation due to physical discomfort. Zhao Zhong stood with his hands behind his back and gave the order. The guards beside him immediately stepped forward and carried Wang Dongcheng away. Soon they disappeared from everyone's sight. The evolved Jing masters in the surroundings all shook their heads. To think that he dared to insult a king. Did he not know how to spell the word, death? It was already lucky that he had only been knocked unconscious. Some kings were hot-tempered and directly killed Wang Dongcheng, guaranteeing that the Wang family wouldn't dare to say anything. Xia Ping quietly watched from the side and didn't say anything. He also knew that it was impossible to kill this idiot in the headquarters of the giant company. After all, there were kings around. Now that he had kicked the other party out of the ruins operation, it was enough to make the other party regret it. He would probably be angry for the next few years, wondering why he had been so stupid to do such a thing. Alright, although there are some disturbances, it doesn't matter much, Zhao Zhong solemnly said. I believe everyone already knows about this. This time, the giant company is planning to open the 88th ruin. The 88th ruin. Xia Ping's eyes flashed. He knew that the number of the ruins represented the order of discovery. This didn't mean that the earlier the ruins were discovered, the better. After all, if they were discovered first, the ruins would have long been explored by others. All the treasures inside would have been taken away, and there wouldn't be any treasures left for the later generations. Hence, the later the ruins were discovered, the better it would be. There would also be more treasures left inside. Although the 88th ruin wasn't the last to be discovered, it wasn't the first either. There should still be many treasures left behind. This news caused many evolved Jing masters to be excited. The 88th ruin is very special. It is different from the other dangerous ruins. It is specially used to select elites. It's similar to an examination. Zhao Zhong continued, however, this examination is extremely dangerous. If one doesn't pass the examination, the evolved Jing masters who entered would die without exception. Of course, after passing the examination, there would be many benefits. Depending on the difficulty of the examination, some would obtain treasures, some would obtain unparalleled ultimate arts, and some would obtain precious herbs. In any case, those who passed the examination would obtain great benefits, allowing their strength to improve by leaps and bounds. He explained some of the inside information about the 88th ruin. Mr. Zhao, since that's the case, what exactly is the examination for the 88th ruin? Someone asked. Zhao Zhong shook his head. This ruin requires the examination to be strictly confidential. Hence, those who have participated in the examination are all tight-lipped. Not a single bit of the examination content has been leaked. Hence, when the time comes, you guys can only find out for yourselves. No one else can help you. He indicated that he also didn't know what the examination content was. Everyone was helpless and felt a trace of fear toward the unknown. Although the rewards for entering the ruin were very rich, if one didn't pass, they would die. The consequences were very severe. The death rate for the examination this time is very high. It's above 50%. Zhao Zhong looked at everyone. Hence, it's very natural to be afraid. If any of you are unwilling to participate, you can choose to withdraw now. I guarantee that no one will stop you. However, no one flinched and no one chose to withdraw. All the evolved Jing masters present had experienced many life or death situations. What was a 50% death rate? They had all been to places with 90% death rates. How could one obtain treasures without paying a price? Their dad wasn't an invincible king, so it was impossible for him to have prepared so many treasures for them to cultivate. As the saying went, seeking riches amidst danger. Without huge risks, one would want to pursue high returns. How could there be such a good thing in this world? Alright, since no one wants to withdraw, let's set off now. Zhao Zhong didn't hesitate and moved immediately. Take the spaceship to the 88th ruin. When you get there, someone will naturally pick you up. After saying that, he waved his hand and turned to leave. At that moment, a spaceship descended from the sky. The void energy vibrated, immediately sweeping up all the evolved Jing masters on the square, including Xiaoping, and teleporting them to the inside of the spaceship. Whoosh! Chapter 852. The 88th Ruins. This was a huge island located in the depths of the endless sea. The island was extremely large, and there were lush trees everywhere, like a primeval forest. There were tyrannical monsters everywhere, and it was filled with the aura of the prehistoric era. However, because of the 88th Ruins, this island had long been occupied by the human army. A port and a small city had been built there. Boom! The spaceship carrying Xiaoping and the others quickly arrived on this island, came to a base and landed. Everyone walked out of the spaceship. Hello everyone. The one who came out to greet Xiaoping and the others was a middle-aged man in black with a big knife on his back. He exuded a wild and fierce aura like a black bear. He introduced himself. I am Ling Guoyang, the person in charge of the 88th Ruins. Congratulations on coming to the 88th Ruins to participate in the trial. We have been preparing for a long time. Now follow me in. Without any nonsense, Ling Guoyang directly asked everyone to follow him in. Whoosh! Whoosh! Xiaoping and the others followed behind Ling Guoyang. The surrounding security was tight, and tyrannical masters were everywhere. There seemed to be a king suppressing them. There were guards every 5 steps and there were cameras everywhere. There was also a laser defense system in operation. Once an enemy was found, they would immediately kill them without exception. It could be said that this ruin was strictly monitored. Even a fly would be killed if it wanted to enter. The protection of the ruins was even stricter than that of the president. They walked into the metal base that was entirely made of titanium alloy metal. Along the way, they passed through metal passageways and turned here and there before finally arriving at a hall in the deepest part of the base. This hall was also extremely mysterious, as if it was a computer-controlled base. There were optical computers everywhere, and there were huge screens on the walls. Pieces of information that people couldn't understand were constantly flashing across. Many staff members were analyzing and studying here to crack the mysteries of this base. After all, the technology of this base was beyond this era, containing unimaginable science and technology. Even if they couldn't crack the defense system of the entire ruin base, they would always obtain a lot of useful technology if they studied it carefully. In fact, the human technology of Yanhuang planet continued to develop in this way, studying the technology of each ruin base, digesting, and even innovating. They're here. Finally, someone is here. Welcome, Grandmasters, to the 88th Ruins base. There's no need to welcome them. Not long after, only half of the Grandmasters here will survive. If we welcome them now, we'll be sending them off tomorrow. Shut up. No one will think you're a mute if you don't speak. Even if that's the case, you can't spout nonsense. Sorry, I was just joking to lighten the mood. Liven up my ass. How can we liven up the atmosphere when there's already a dead person? Pay attention. In the hall, there were also many staff members. When they saw Xiaoping and the others appear, they all started talking at once, looking at Xiaoping and the others like pandas. Many of the Grandmasters were speechless. This group of staff members was too vicious. Although some of them were defending them, they seemed to think that more than half of them were dead, so they did not know what to say. I'm sorry, these bastards haven't seen strangers in a long time, so their mouths are a little big, but they definitely don't have any ill intentions towards you. Ling Guoyang looked at Xiaoping and the others and smiled, but the truth is that the trial in this ruins base is indeed very dangerous. The death rate is more than 50%, and the weak ones are more than 90%. Over the decades, I've seen countless Grandmasters succeed, and I've also seen many Grandmasters with boundless futures die. So whether you want to go in or not, it's up to you. His expression was very calm as he stated this fact. However, none of the Grandmasters present said anything. Their eyes were extremely resolute. Since they were already here, it was not their turn to back, so they did not choose to back out. Alright, if that's the case, let's open the ruins. After a few claps, Ling Guoyang clapped his hands. Immediately, a few staff members beside him started typing on the optical computer. Dong! Immediately, the metal wall opposite them split open, revealing a circular passage. However, this passage was covered by a white light screen. There were gentle energy fluctuations, and no one could see what was inside the passage. This is the passage to the 88th ruins. Ling Guoyang pointed at the circular passage. Once you enter, it means that the trial has begun. If you don't succeed, you'll die inside and your body won't be sent out. If you succeed, you'll probably come back within a month. We call this door the Gate of Hell. Once you enter, your life and death are uncertain. I can only wish you good luck. Many of the grandmasters fell silent. Even though they were mentally prepared, they still felt great pressure when it came to the end. Was this the ruins trial where one's life and death were uncertain? There was great terror between life and death. Not to mention grandmasters, even kings would not be able to understand it. I'll go in first. Xiaoping was the first to speak. After that, he ignored the others and stepped into the entrance of the ruins first. As expected of young people, brave and fearless. I'm still getting old. When things come to the end, I'm actually a little afraid. There is great terror between life and death. Perhaps I can use this terror to break through to the king realm. I wish you all good luck. I'm going in as well. After I succeed, let's all drink together. Seeing that Xiaoping, the youngest grandmaster, had also entered, many of the grandmasters seemed to be relieved. They finally let go of the pressure in their hearts and walked in one by one without hesitation. In just a few minutes, all the grandmasters had stepped into the ruins passage. With a snap, the passage closed and the golden wall closed again. The moment Xiaoping stepped into the ruins passage, he immediately felt that he was surrounded by a mass of energy. In an instant, he was transported to a huge square. The square was extremely large, like a fighting arena. There was nothing around it. What is this place? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and looked around, vigilant of the dangers around him. It was the same for the other grandmasters. One by one, they were transported to a huge space and were all separated. Dong! Immediately, a huge white beam of light descended from the void and hit Xiaoping's body. However, it did not have any offensive power. It was like sunlight making people feel warm. Chapter 853. Xiaoping stood quietly in place and did not move. He knew that this might be a test procedure of the relic trial, and he did not know what the consequences would be if he acted rashly, so he did not move. The challenger is at the 4th level of the Supreme Power Realm, 19 years old, and the race is human. Begin to test physical fitness. Strength level, SSS. Nerve reaction speed level, SSS. Speed level, SSS. Soul level, SSS. Immaculate body, perfect constitution. Body bloodline. Beep beep beep, unmeasurable, unmeasurable, beyond the detection range of the system. The system has determined that he meets the highest level of the trial. Start immediately. Immediately, the quiet space was filled with beeping alarms at this moment. The moment Xiaoping's physical condition was detected, it seemed that even the mechanical voice now had a trace of human emotion, as if it was very shocked by Xiaoping's physical condition, which made the other party a little stunned. The highest level of the trial? What the hell is this? Xiaoping blinked his eyes. He did not expect that this would happen just by testing his body. The bodies of other Supreme Power Masters were also tested by the system, but there was no change in the voice, as if it was routine and would start immediately after the test. Rumble. At this moment, the whole space returned to normal. Drops of black liquid fell from the void and fell to the ground. Immediately, these black liquids quickly condensed together, merged into one, and then turned into a human figure. Liquid robot. Xiaoping's pupils shrank. He had once seen on a forum that there were powerful puppet guards in the relic space, all of which were liquid robots. They were condensed by a special liquid, which could be divided and dispersed, and were extremely hard. These guards could not be killed by ordinary means. Only by destroying their core would they die. Moreover, these liquid robots were proficient in martial arts, no less than any martial arts Supreme Power Master. Even because they had no emotions, their moves were even more terrifying. Every move was made according to the most accurate and efficient way, and would never waste any drop of strength. It was like a computer control achieving a state of extreme simplicity. At this moment there were 18 such liquid robots. They were dressed in black armor and held 3-foot-long swords in their hands. Their bodies exuded a strong sword intent, as if they had pierced the sky, which was extremely terrifying. Whoosh! Whoosh! These liquid robots did not speak to Xiaoping at all. In an instant they attacked and slashed with their swords. Suddenly a terrifying sword chi was slashed out, condensed enough to pierce through everything. Moreover, its speed was unbelievably fast, reaching 5 times the speed of sound. At this speed it would reach him in the blink of an eye. An ordinary grandmaster would not even be able to react in time, and would most likely be beheaded. Die! Xiaoping flipped his hand and ran the Dark North body protecting skill. His hand was wrapped in a strong aura, and he hit the sword chi with his bare hands. Dong! Immediately, this kind of sword chi was instantly smashed into pieces. The air shook thousands of times, and the tyrannical palm force bombarded one of the liquid robots. However, the liquid robot merely took a few steps back and remained unscathed. Immovable Buddha palm. Xiaoping was expressionless. Golden light erupted from his body, as if a Buddha had descended. Buddhist light illuminated everything as he struck out with his palm, containing the aura of an unmovable Buddha. With a bang, the liquid robot in front of him was instantly sent flying before crashing heavily into the ground, creating a massive human-shaped crater with cracks all around it. Not dead yet. Xiaoping's pupils shrank because he saw the liquid robot falling to the ground. Its whole body was flattened by a huge palm force and turned into a huge piece of metal paper, but its whole body was composed of liquid, as if it was metal with memory. In just a moment it actually returned to its original state, as if nothing had happened. It's really like what the internet says, if the core of the liquid robot is not found it can't be destroyed at all and can't be killed? Xiaoping also felt a headache for this kind of robot. As expected of the guardian of the ruins, just this unkillable existence alone has probably killed countless enemies who wanted to invade. After all, cutting off an arm, a leg, or even the head of the other party is useless. They are liquid robots and can be reborn at any time and anywhere. As long as the core is not destroyed, they are immortal. At the same time, the other 17 swordsman liquid robots also attacked. They joined forces at the same time and seemed to set up a huge sword formation. Sword chi attacked, and the sword light vibrated like a meat grinder. If you are in it, you will be torn into pieces by these terrifying sword lights. Dark North body protection art. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a cold light, his hands turned into a circle, the qigong in his body vibrated, and a huge Kuan-Peng appeared behind him, opening his mouth and sucking. At this moment his body seemed to turn into a huge black hole, swallowing and nibbling, forming a terrible vortex of air, swallowing everything. With a loud sound, these terrifying sword chi were swallowed by Kuan-Peng in an instant and turned into nothingness. The power of Dark North body protection art is evident. At the same time, his body also seemed to have thousands of shocks, like the thunder of tigers and leopards, training the bone marrow, absorbing this energy as his own, and strengthening his body's astral chi. It was as if this was a perfect tonic for him. Such a thing seems to shock this group of swordsman liquid robots. The computing system doesn't seem to expect this to happen. Their powerful sword chi was swallowed in one bite, and the enemy was unscathed. It's too exaggerated. Since I can only kill this group of liquid robots by finding the core, then I will completely destroy your body and see if you die or not. Xiaoping's eyes showed a cold light. Heavenly Dragon 8 sounds. Wu, gu, ba, ma, ah, 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 ah. One by one syllables burst out. After being promoted to the Supreme Power Realm, this sound wave unique art is even more terrifying. A trace of roar like a real dragon roar has a trace of embryonic form. In midair, the air vibrated and condensed into a substance, like a tidal wave, with Xiaoping's body as the center, sweeping in all directions. Bang bang bang. Immediately, the swordsman liquid robots were caught off guard. Their bodies were shocked by such sound waves hundreds of times, and their internal structure was destroyed crazily. With a snap, a burst of crisp sound rang out. Their inner core, a silver sphere, seemed to be unable to withstand such a sound wave attack. It shattered on the spot, like glass being smashed into pieces. Immediately, These liquid robots fell to the ground and turned into a mass of black liquid. Are they finally all dead? Seeing these liquid robots disappear, Xiaoping also breathed a sigh of relief. But before Xiaoping could rest, the space shook, and 18 silver liquid robots appeared on the ground again. They were all holding long spears in their hands like knights and rushed over. Again. Chapter 854. Shu Shu. The silver liquid robots wielded spears and stabbed over. The spears were like a forest of sharp edges, sealing off all of Xiaoping's movements. It was like a forest of thorns. Once pierced, one would bleed profusely. In fact, one's entire body would be riddled with holes. Not even the gods would be able to save him. Amazing! Xiaoping could sense that these silver liquid robots were extremely strong as well. Each of them was like a grandmaster of the spear, as though they had been immersed in the art of the spear for decades. If it was just a single silver liquid robot, it might have been a little stiff and would have a momentary opening. However, with 18 of them working together, they formed a spear formation that complemented each other. This was practically invincible. This wasn't as simple as 1 plus 1. The power was multiplied by several folds. Hell's suppressing spear. In an instant, he also took out his weapon. Fighting against these spear-wielding robots with bare hands was really too disadvantageous for him, and he was restrained in every aspect. A terrifying hellish aura emanated from Xiaoping's body. It was as though the gates of hell had opened and an Asura had walked out. The surrounding air seemed to have turned blood red. Dong! With a stab of the spear, layers of spear shadows appeared in the air. It was as though the spear could pierce through the void. The tip of the spear possessed an unimaginable sharpness that seemed indestructible. The spear shadows even stirred the air, forming a terrifying vortex. The vortex turned into ropes that bound the silver liquid robots. Even if they wanted to dodge, it was impossible. Kill! Xiaoping bellowed. His killing intent surged as he turned into a hellish jailer. With a stab of the spear, the heavens and earth shook as it pierced through the body of a silver liquid robot. Bang! The hell-suppressing spear trembled and erupted with a terrifying hellish aura. It was as violent as a primordial divine elephant, instantly blowing up the entire liquid robot. Even the core of the robot could not withstand such a terrifying explosion and shattered into pieces. The liquid robot also turned into a puddle of silver liquid that quickly melted into the ground and disappeared. Xiaoping was not going to let them off easily. After piercing through a silver liquid robot with a single stab of his spear, he struck out repeatedly. His spear was like a dragon, piercing through 17 spear shadows in an instant. Pa pa pa! Time seemed to have stopped at that moment. The remaining 17 liquid robots were unable to move. Their computing abilities did not seem to have calculated that this would happen. By the time they reacted, the energy of the hell spear instantly exploded in their bodies. It was as if a human bomb had been ambushed, and they instantly exploded into pieces. Immediately, a huge pit appeared on the ground, and a large amount of silver liquid flowed into it, forming a small lake. Anything else? Xiaoping hovered in place, the hell spear in his hand, radiating a wild aura. He looked like an Asura from the depths of hell, an invincible god of war. After the liquid robot with the long spear disappeared, it seemed that the trial space did not give Xiaoping any time to respond. In an instant, 18 robots with large blades appeared. Such attacks came wave after wave. Some of the robots held huge axes in their hands. They were extremely powerful, and when they swung down they had the power to split the earth. Some of the robots were proficient in assassination. They turned into shadows and constantly searched for Xiaoping's flaws, wanting to deal a fatal blow. Some of the robots held energy guns and bombarded from a distance, chasing Xiaoping around. Once caught by these robots, they would be shot in the head and killed. And this kind of attack came a total of 18 times. Different robots attacked with different weapons, wave after wave, like the waves of the sea, never stopping. Xiaoping also ran the pure young immortal's secret art. Like a rock in the sea, no matter how these robots attacked, he remained motionless and responded to the changes. Boom! I don't know how long it took. Xiaoping punched out and smashed a robot with a scythe and destroyed all the rest of the robots. The whole ground was scarred, and there were shocking traces everywhere, as if it had been baptized by hundreds of missiles. Who? Xiaoping took a deep breath, and there was some dense sweat on his forehead. Even if his physical strength was off the charts, facing so many attacks, he couldn't help but be a little breathless. It is estimated that if he didn't have the Dark North body protection technique, he could absorb the power of these enemies and take it for himself to enhance his own strength, and his long-term combat ability was extremely strong. If it was another Grandmaster, he would definitely die. However, such an intense battle also had great benefits for Xiaoping. He felt the aura energy in his body surging, refining the medicinal power stored in his body. It seemed that he was about to break through an acupoint and strengthen the aura energy in his body. Ding dong, when the last robot died, a mechanical voice rang out in the air. Congratulations, trial taker. You have passed the first round of the death trial. You have an hour to rest. Next will be the second round of the death trial. Once passed, the challenger has the opportunity to obtain the inheritance of this star sect. There is a second round of the death trial? Originally, when he heard this mechanical voice, Xiaoping thought that the trial was finally over. But who would have thought that this was just the beginning? There was still a second round. Just the first round of the trial was so terrifying. How terrifying would the second round be? However, what did this myriad star sect mean? Could it be that it was the true master of this ruins? Why have I never heard of such a name before? Xiaoping's eyes flickered. He felt that as his trial progressed, he seemed to be more and more clear about the true face of this base. Perhaps there is a huge secret hidden here. Half an hour passed in a flash. Time's up. The second round of the trial begins. Suddenly, Xiaoping heard this mechanical voice. Boom! Regardless of whether Xiaoping agreed or not, a mass of energy instantly wrapped his body, and in the next second he was teleported to another space. What is this place? Xiaoping stood on the ground and found himself in a place where the walls were crystal, and the crystal walls were engraved with many complex and mysterious patterns, as well as complex characters that he had never seen before. His eyes looked at this mysterious pattern, and he felt dizzy, and suddenly found that his spirit seemed to be pulled into a mysterious martial arts world by these patterns. A figure of light was displaying a peerless supreme art. Each of its moves contained a terrifying might. Chapter 855. The mission has begun? Xiaoping looked confused. Although the mission had begun, what exactly was this trial mission? Before Xiaoping could ask, the mechanical voice sounded again. There are pictures and words engraved on the wall. It is a basic technique of the Myriad Stars sect, star guiding art. Once you successfully cultivate it, you can draw the power of the stars in the sky. If you cultivate it to a high level, you can make the stars dance with you in one breath, condense into the myriad star body, and become the son of the stars. If you learn this technique within a year, you can leave this base. However, if you fail the assessment, you will die. Of course, during this year of learning, the base will provide you with water and food to ensure your basic needs. Xiaoping looked at the wall and carefully observed it again. There were many human body patterns on it. There were thousands of them, and each picture was accompanied by a large number of ancient explanations, which were not any of the words he was familiar with. It could be said that this basic technique was extremely complicated. Ordinary people would feel that their heads would explode when they saw this information, just like a primary school student trying to solve calculus. Why does it take a year? Can't I learn it in a day? Xiaoping blinked his eyes, indicating that he found the time requirement very strange. The voice suddenly became a little speechless. This native was really whimsical. He wanted to learn the star guiding art in a day. Why didn't he go to heaven? Did he think that this was some kind of technique? However, it still explained, the star guiding art is an extremely complicated technique. Even if a genius wants to learn it successfully without guidance, they may not be able to get started in 3 years. Not to mention ordinary people, even with guidance from a teacher, they will never be able to get started in this life. Learning it in a year is also a very demanding requirement. Unless you are a monster, it will be difficult to pass this trial. It indicated that the difficulty of this technique was extraordinary. Indeed, this was not a lie. Just the thousands of diagrams and the explanations of the ancient words were enough to prove the complexity of this technique. Ordinary people would feel that their heads were going to explode when they saw the information above. But on one hand, this also meant that this cultivation method was extraordinarily powerful. System, help me scan it. How much hatred points do I need to spend to learn this technique? Xiaoping's eyes flickered, and he immediately issued an order to the super hatred system. If it was according to the ordinary method, it would naturally be difficult to quickly learn this extremely complicated technique, but with the help of the system it would be different. It could be learned in an instant without wasting much time. Ding dong, after a while the system immediately said, "The test is successful. This technique, star guiding art, is not available in the system. This technique is extremely precious and priceless. The host needs to spend 200 million hatred points to learn it." What? Xiaoping was shocked. He knew that in the cloud realm, peerless king-level cultivation technique was basically the best. However, there was a cultivation technique that was even more powerful than king-level cultivation techniques in the world, and that was the sacred level. There, he could become a saint. Once learned, he could become a saint. If it appeared in the cloud realm, it would immediately cause a bloodbath. Many monster kings would fight over it crazily. They would not hesitate to start a war. It's actually a saint-tier cultivation technique. I'm going to be rich. Xiaoping didn't expect that he would be qualified to learn a saint-level technique just by entering the ruins once. It was incredible. It had been hundreds of years since the 88th ruins was excavated, but no one had ever been able to get a saint-level technique from it. However, it was estimated that in order to activate this assessment, one also needed to meet the qualification requirements. None of the humans who came to the 88th ruins before could meet the requirements, so naturally they couldn't trigger it. It wasn't until Xiaoping's turn that he finally opened the final inheritance of the ruins. System, immediately spend 200 million hatred points to learn this star guiding art? Xiaoping immediately said. Since this was a saint-level technique, it would naturally be beneficial to him after learning it. Moreover, if he wanted to leave the ruins, he must learn this technique. Although it would cost 200 million hatred points, it was nothing at all. Anyway, the hatred points could be earned again. But if the saint-level technique was gone, it was really gone. If a technique of this level was exchanged in the system, he didn't know how much it would be worth. Exchange successful. The system's voice came out, and in the next second, a majestic stream of information poured into Xiaoping's mind. Boom! At this moment, Xiaoping's soul seemed to appear in a boundless universe, and he saw a huge figure sitting cross-legged in the void of the universe. The other party was meditating cross-legged, his body transparent, and there was a Qigong circulation route map. It was like a huge picture of stars with countless planets appearing in it. As this figure breathed, the power of countless stars in the void was absorbed and entered his 108,000 pores, constantly strengthening the power of his body. It was as if at this moment, this figure had incarnated into a huge star, the Lord of the Stars, and the power of the stars in the sky was for his use. It's too powerful. Xiaoping felt his soul trembling. Compared to this figure, the unparalleled ferocious beast, the soul-devouring beast, was nothing. This seemed to be a powerhouse standing at the top of the universe, reaching the Saint Realm. This was the realm where he could grab the stars and the moon. His magical power was boundless and almost omnipotent. Star guiding art. Feeling the greatness of this illusory figure, Xiaoping immediately immersed himself in the cultivation of the star guiding art. Star pictures appeared in his mind, digesting and absorbing them for his own use. With the help of the system, he comprehended this peerless technique at the speed of light. After the mechanical voice finished saying these words, it seemed to want to continue, as if it had not spoken for so long in a long time. It still wanted to criticize Xiaoping for not biting off more than he could chew, and for being down to earth. Being able to learn the star guiding art in a year, even if one was a genius among geniuses, wanting to learn the star guiding art in a day was simply a dream. It was like wanting to learn how to fly without even knowing how to walk. Did he really think he was a bird? However, before it could say these words, it immediately saw Xiaoping suddenly sitting cross-legged on the ground, breathing rhythmically, and an inexplicable rhythm appeared in the air. 108,000 pores seemed to have opened at this moment, like a kuan pong swallowing and nibbling away. In the sky, the power of the stars seemed to be pulled by gravity, falling like a meteor. Beams of azure light fell, landing on Xiaoping's body. Chapter 856. Fuck, he learned it just like that? Seeing this situation, the voice could not help but curse. Even though it had seen many peerless geniuses and peerless monsters, it had never seen someone like this. The star guide art was an upper saint level cultivation method. It was extremely complicated. Even a monster would not be able to learn it even after a few years without guidance. However, this kid was simply heaven-defying. He just casually looked at it and actually learned it in an instant. He even began to meditate, guiding the power of the stars in the sky and integrating it into his body. Although he had just learned it, the difference was like heaven and earth. Those who had learned it and those who had not were two completely different things. It was like the difference between a human and a gorilla. This kid is a monster. The voice was speechless and did not know what to say. It had prepared a year for this kid to cultivate and a lot of food and water. Now all these preparations were completely useless. Fortunately, it did not shamelessly say those words to teach this kid not to bite off more than he could chew. Otherwise it would be the one feeling extremely embarrassed. Rumble, at this moment, Xiaoping was meditating cross-legged and operating the star guide art. He closed his eyes and felt that his body was warm, as if he was soaking in a hot spring. In the void, strands of power of the stars integrated into his body, entering every acupoint and every meridian, nourishing every cell in his body and constantly strengthening. Different from the essence of the sun, this power of the stars was extremely gentle and belonged to the yin attribute. It had the effect of nourishing life and was extremely beneficial to life. Bang! After an unknown amount of time, his body suddenly trembled and a majestic power of the stars surged in. In an instant, 2 acupoints were opened, greatly increasing the earth energy in his body. Vaguely, in these acupoints, the power of the stars gathered, as if transforming into stars living in the acupoints. They slowly rotated, emitting the power of the stars and resonating with his body. Xiaoping's body emitted a blue light, as if he was surrounded by endless starlight and bathed in the light of the Milky Way. It was incomparably sacred, like the sun of the stars. So powerful. When this cultivation art was completed, Xiaoping opened his eyes, full of energy. His eyes seemed to contain the revolving power of the stars, terrifying to the extreme, with the power to injure the soul. He could feel that after cultivating the star guiding art, his body was slowly being transformed by the power of the stars. It was as if he had transformed into a body of stars, and his skin was as tough as cowhide. In fact, this technique was very compatible with the pure yang immortal art. Yin and yang fused together and complemented each other. At the same time, an enormous image appeared in his sea of energy, within which was an enormous sun that burned with boundless heat that illuminated the universe. Beside the sun, a silver moon appeared. Moonlight filled the sky, producing a silver radiance. It was incomparably gentle, as if it was neutralizing the violent energy of the sun. Motes of starlight appeared around the 2 stars, as if the sea of qi in his Dantian region had transformed into a boundless universe, incomparably profound and unfathomable. Hu! Xiaoping took a deep breath, and the power of the stars flowed along with his breathing, inhaling and exhaling. The power of the stars that permeated the entire room was immediately devoured by his 108,000 pores, assimilating it into every cell in his body. After that, he opened his eyes and discovered that he was still in the crystal room. He then glanced at his communicator and discovered that 3 days and 3 nights had passed. He completely didn't expect that he would be so immersed in his cultivation that he didn't even know how much time had passed. Moreover, Xiaoping didn't feel hungry at all. It was as if he had absorbed a large amount of power of the stars and was saturated with energy, making up for the lack of energy in his body. Hence he didn't need to eat or eat at all. It seemed like the legends of ancient cultivators who could enter a state of fasting during seclusion and didn't need to eat anything at all might be true. May I ask if this counts as a success? Xiaoping opened his eyes and looked into the air. He knew that his cultivation was definitely being watched by an unknown existence. Did he succeed? The voice was speechless at this moment. It had been observing Xiaoping's situation for the past 3 days, but the more it observed, the more shocked it felt. This native was really too terrifying. It was obviously the first time he cultivated the star guiding art, and it was very difficult to guide the power of the stars in the sky. Normally, it would have ended in 2 hours, and he wouldn't have been able to cultivate for too long. However, this kid actually cultivated for 3 days and 3 nights. The power of the stars seemed to be freely falling from the void and crazily assimilating into his body. Even among the many genius disciples of the star sect, it had seen countless geniuses in the universe, but it had never seen such a freak. It was too abnormal. Was he even human? It could only be said that this kid was really too suitable to cultivate the star guiding art. It seemed that his physique had a strong compatibility with the power of the stars. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was a natural child of the stars. In fact, this was also very normal. Xiaoping had the bloodline of the Golden Crow of Hell. The Golden Crow was an existence known as the sun in the universe. It was the origin of countless lives and the lord of many stars. Even though the bloodline in his body hadn't been completely unsealed, and he had only fused with a little bit of it, it was enough to make his affinity with the power of the stars reach an off-the-charts level. How could ordinary humans compare to this kind of natural variant? They weren't even on the same level. Congratulations to the challenger. You have successfully passed the second round of the death trials. Please follow the passage in front of you until the end to receive your reward. The voice suppressed the shock in its heart and acted as if nothing had happened. It seemed as if it was doing official business without any emotions. Bang! As soon as the voice finished speaking, one of the walls of the originally incomparably sturdy crystal room immediately split open, revealing a huge tunnel. This tunnel was very long. It seemed to be 5 or 6 kilometers long. It was pitch black without any light. It was unknown what was at the end of the tunnel. It was mysterious and unpredictable. Go! Xiaoping didn't hesitate and immediately used the Kuanpeng steps. His whole body glided over and quickly passed through the tunnel. He couldn't wait to receive the reward of this relic. Soon he left the tunnel and arrived at the end. Suddenly it became clear. At the end of the tunnel was a huge and mysterious palace. There seemed to be a boundless starry world above his head. Strands of the power of the stars fell down. It was magnificent. It was as if he was in the universe. No one. Xiaoping looked around. It was very quiet. There didn't seem to be a shadow of anyone. Boom! Chapter 857. Xiaoping's body trembled because he saw that the figure was condensed from light energy. What appeared in front of him was a person with a human body but a cat's face. It held a walking stick in its hand and had a white beard. It wore a white robe and had a sage-like demeanor. Hello, I am the AI of this base. You can call me Corinne. Corinne smiled slightly and looked at Xiaoping in front of him with a peaceful face. AI. Xiaoping knew that the AI was only a computer that operated at the speed of light. Although its computing power was extremely powerful and it could simulate many complex times, it was still an ordinary machine. A computer that was more powerful than the AI was undoubtedly the AI. It was a super machine with wisdom and emotions. It could be said that such a machine was basically separated from the concept of machinery and was more similar to a metal life. The gap between these two technologies is like the difference between the primitive society and the nuclear age. Even the current Yanhuang star can't figure out how intelligence was born. They can't figure it out even if they break their heads. Only the relics had such powerful technology, which was beyond imagination. But soon Xiaoping also found something strange. He looked at Corinne and asked, "Do you know the language of Yanhuang star?" Normally, every place has its own local language, and the languages of the major places in the sky realm are also different. If it were not for the emergence of translation software, it would be very difficult to communicate. This is just a small matter. Corinne faintly smiled. This base has observed the entire cloud realm for tens of thousands of years. From primitive to development to prosperity to decline and then to slow recovery. I know this place's history, geographical environment, customs like the back of my hand. Moreover, some indigenous languages can be analyzed in an instant by the AI. The computing speed of the AI is not what ordinary people can imagine. It can simulate more than 1 trillion times in an instant. Observed for tens of thousands of years. Xiaoping heard the information inadvertently revealed by Corinne. He did not expect that this relic was not dead but still alive. It silently observed the whole world, and no one could find it, which was frightening. With the other party's super technology, if they wanted to harm the human beings of this world, they would probably face a disaster. Don't be afraid. Corinne seemed to have seen through Xiaoping's thoughts and said, "You haven't lived in the universe, so you don't know how vast and boundless the real universe is. It is a space that life can never explore in a lifetime. This so-called cloud realm is just a piece of land in the universe that is as numerous as the hairs on a cow. Moreover, the resources are so poor that I'm not interested in it at all." It was like a rich man who was used to living in a bustling city came to a remote village. He wouldn't have any special thoughts about this place. The cloud world is a piece of land in the universe? Xiaoping blinked his eyes. He thought that the universe was basically made up of planets. He didn't expect there to be land. What's so strange about the universe having land? Corinne sneered. The universe is so big and magical. How can ordinary people imagine it? Not only are there naturally formed continents in the universe, where the sky is round and the earth is square, and the atmosphere is like an eggshell, there are also many mysterious secret realms that are vast and boundless. They form their own space and are suppressed by the rules. Even with advanced technology, it is difficult to enter them. In addition, there are even artificial continents and artificial planets with a diameter of more than 10,000 light-years. Compared to them, the cloud world and Yanhuang planet are just a speck of dust. Felt that Xiaoping was making a fuss. He was really a native. Land of more than 10,000 light-years. Xiaoping was speechless. No wonder Corinne looked down on the cloud world. He was used to seeing big fish and meat. How could he be interested in these small grains? The gap between the two sides was too big. This was the difference in their horizons. It was like the poor always worried that the emperor would come and steal the 3 caddies of rice in the rice jar at home. It was really ridiculous. How did Yanhuang planet and the cloud world connect together? Xiaoping was very curious about this. He felt that this was probably one of the biggest secrets of Yanhuang planet. It was precisely because of the connection of wormholes that Yanhuang planet had undergone earth-shaking changes. By chance, Corinne said in a deep voice, there are many coincidences in the universe, such as space storms, various magnetic disasters, and so on. No one can predict when they will appear. The appearance of a wormhole between Yanhuang planet and the cloud world, connecting the two areas separated by who knows how many light-years, is just a coincidence in the universe. In fact, this kind of thing is also countless. For example, several planets have space tunnels that can be entered and exited at will. This is a miracle of the universe and cannot be explained. It meant that this was just a coincidence. Was it a coincidence? After thinking about it, Xiaoping no longer paid attention to this kind of thing. It was like a person suddenly winning a $5 million lottery. Did he have to think about why the other party won the lottery? It was just a coincidence. He looked at Corinne and asked, I passed this assessment trial. May I ask what the reward is? Is there a spaceship that can cross the universe and a superweapon that can destroy the world? Xiaoping was very excited. If he got such a weapon, wouldn't he be able to walk unhindered in the cloud world? This was simply a modern society crushing a primitive society. Even invincible kings had to die. The corner of Corinne's mouth twitched. This native was really impolite. When others saw such a huge gap, they would have long been in awe of it. This native, on the other hand, directly asked him for a reward. He was extremely thick-skinned and didn't seem to treat him as an outsider. Of course there is such a weapon. This is nothing at all. My starry sect is a mysterious and powerful force in the universe. We have a weapon called the Star Destroyer Cannon. One shot can destroy the entire cloud world in a planet. Corinne stood with his hands behind his back and said proudly. He seemed to want to enjoy Xiaoping's worshipping gaze. Such a weapon would definitely scare this native to death and make him worship him. Star Destroyer Cannon? As soon as Xiaoping heard this name, his eyes lit up because this weapon sounded very powerful. It gave him a feeling of invincibility and could walk unhindered like a crab. Where is this Star Destroyer Cannon? Xiaoping asked immediately. Well, because of various reasons it was destroyed. Corinne's eyes flickered. It seemed that there was something difficult to say. Destroyed. Chapter 858. What exterminated? Does this native know how to speak? Corinne was so angry that his beard curled up. He felt that this native didn't know how to speak, directly poking at his sore spot. Corinne's face was very dark. However, it also admitted, "You're right, the All-Star sect is indeed in big trouble. People don't have good days, flowers don't have red days. No matter how powerful a force is, it will eventually decline. My master, the Star Sect master, offended an unimaginable great figure. As a result, he was hunted down and affected countless galaxies. One after another, planets were destroyed, and almost the entire sect was exterminated. In the end, only by carrying the secret base of the Star Sect to this desolate place did he escape the final calamity and not be completely exterminated." Xia Ping asked curiously, "An unimaginable great figure? How strong was he?" "Sage," Corinne said in a deep voice. "The other party was a tyrannical sage. Although my master, the Star Sect master, was also a sage, the strong have their own experts. The other party was undoubtedly more powerful, and his means reached the heavens. In the end, my master couldn't resist and was beheaded." Xia Ping blinked his eyes, indicating that he didn't understand such a realm division. "That's right." Corinne nodded. "According to your strength, it's normal that you don't understand. Your so-called martial disciple, martial artist, martial master, and grandmaster realms are just babies in the universe. And the king realm is actually called the mortal realm in the universe." Mortal realm? Xia Ping was speechless. He had cultivated for so long and conscientiously, but he still hadn't reached the mortal realm. He was just a baby. The gap was too big. The mortal realm is also divided into 9 realms. Corinne continued. They are Purple Mansion Realm, Fulfillment Realm, Divine Power Realm, Treasure Refining Realm, True Fire Realm, Golden Core Realm, Returning Nature Realm, Law Phase Realm, and finally Thunder Retribution Realm. Each realm is divided into early, middle, and late stages. In the Cloud Realm, most of the kings are actually only at Purple Mansion Realm. A small number of kings have advanced to Fulfillment Realm. Those so-called invincible kings are actually only at the Divine Power Realm. What? Xia Ping was shocked. He didn't expect the king realm to be divided into 9 realms, and the gap between each realm was so huge. The so-called invincible kings were only at the Divine Power Realm. "Do you know what Purple Mansion Realm is?" Corinne glanced at Xia Ping. Xia Ping shook his head, indicating that he didn't know the divisions of the king realm. Such information was classified as top secret, and it seemed that it wouldn't be leaked unless one reached a certain level. To reach Purple Mansion, one must to Purple Mansion. This is the key to the king realm. Cat Wants Person said in a low voice. Once the Violet Palace is opened, the body's spiritual energy and stellar energy will completely fuse, activating the brain region, and fusing with an even higher level of energy magic power. Some mighty martial artists can grab the stars and the moon, travel through the void, and are almost omnipotent. This is because of the existence of magical power in their bodies. It is a high-level energy in the universe. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He understood the huge gap between the king realm and the master realm. It was because of the existence of king realm and master realm. This energy was so powerful that it transcended everything. Once it enveloped the body, even a nuclear bomb wouldn't be able to penetrate the king realm's defense. Even thousands of masters couldn't break the defense. If they couldn't even break the defense, how could they contend against the king realm? So when a master realm faced a king realm, it was basically a one-sided massacre. But Purple Mansion Realm is just a rookie in the universe. They are like servants. There are countless of them. They are usually used as cannon fodder in war. Corinne said lightly. Cannon fodder. The corner of Xia Ping's mouth twitched. In the Cloud Realm, the king realm was so respected. But in the universe, they were just cannon fodder? After reaching the Fulfillment Realm, their status is slightly higher. They are considered mid-level cannon fodder. Corinne said. Mortals who have reached the Fulfillment Realm have reached the acme of perfection in their control of King Realm. They can attach King Realm to their weapons. The attack power is more than 10 times stronger. And the Divinity Realm is even more terrifying. Mortals of this level have already cultivated martial arts mystiques, and their strength has increased by more than 100 times. The difference between mortals who have cultivated martial arts mystiques and those who haven't is like heaven and earth. It's the difference between the mud in the ground and the dragons in the sky. A person who condenses martial Tao divine powers can almost sweep away a group of kings under the divine powers realm. They can't be defeated. Such a person can barely be considered as high-level cannon fodder in the universe. Xia Ping was speechless. In the cloud realm, the existence known as the invincible king realm, no one dared to provoke them. But in this guy's mouth, they were just high-level cannon fodder. If they reach the artifact refining realm, then their status will increase geometrically, Corinne said in a low voice, because at this realm, they can already refine artifacts. The artifacts you have are basically refined by experts of this level. Such people are considered to have some status in the universe. They are at a moderate level. After all, they can refine artifacts, so they are qualified to sell treasures and carry out primitive accumulation. Refine artifacts. Xia Ping knew how powerful artifacts were. Looking at the entire cloud realm, no one could refine one. Even with the current level of technology, there was no way to replicate it because it was not a scientific system. However, such a magical and powerful artifact could be refined after reaching the artifact refining realm. He couldn't imagine how strong people of this level were. Try to imagine, after reaching the artifact refining realm, they could refine artifacts at will. If every king in the cloud realm had one, they could probably easily destroy the Thousand Demon Mountain. Such an expert could change the situation in an instant. He was a big boss who could affect the entire cloud realm. Once you reach the true fire realm, you are qualified to become a tycoon. You can be rich and influence the economy of a planet. Corinne continued, once you reach the golden core realm, you can become the master of a planet. You can buy and sell planets in the universe at will. You can become the master of a planet and control billions of subordinates. As for the returning nature realm, you can become an elder of a large sect in the transcendence realm. You can control dozens or hundreds of planets. You can be considered a big boss. No one will look down on you anywhere in the universe. As for the Thunder Retribution realm, there is no need to talk about it. People of this level are just one step away from transcending mortality and becoming a true sage. Their strength is tyrannical and unfathomable. Can be said that this is the strongest person below the sage. They are important in any force. Chapter 859. Xia Ping's thoughts surged when he heard these words. Even though he knew that the path of the martial Tao was extremely arduous, he'd never imagined that the King realm was merely the beginning. There were still 9 more realms: the Violet Palace realm, the Fulfillment realm, the Divine Refinement realm, the True Fire realm, the Golden Core realm, the Origin realm, the Transcendence realm, and the Final Tribulation realm. Moreover, this was only for mortals. Above mortals were saints, transcending mortality and entering sainthood. These were the true big shots of the universe, looking down on billions of living beings and treating countless people as ants. With a single thought, billions of lives were annihilated. What realm is a sage? Xia Ping was extremely curious about this. What realm is a sage? Corinne saw Xia Ping's longing appearance and immediately smiled. That is an unimaginable realm, an existence that is not on the same level as mortals. This kind of expert is an existence that can control a star field. With a single order, he can mobilize countless large sects and destroy countless countries. With a single palm, he can destroy a universe fleet. The Star Destroyer cannon is no different from scratching an itch for a saint. Back then, our myriad star sect's sect master was also a saint. He was tyrannical and invincible. No matter where we were in the cosmos, we would be respected. No one dared to provoke our myriad star sect. Even the number of people who want to join the myriad star sect is like a school of carps crossing the river. If one isn't a monster, it would be impossible to join. But even so, it still can't stop many geniuses from wanting to join the myriad star sect. It was immensely proud of itself as it recalled the glory of the myriad stars sect in the past. That was truly a place where 10,000 countries came to pay homage to. Even someone as powerful as him can die? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. Everyone will die. It's the same for saints. Corinne shook his head and sighed. At that time, Master was arrogant, but I didn't expect that there would always be someone stronger than him. He met an even more powerful sage, but he also died, and his soul was annihilated in the void. After all, even sages have different levels of strength. Some can only rule over one star zone, while some can rule over tens of thousands of star zones. The difference is huge. Corinne sighed with emotion. He was thinking about how powerful the Myriad Stars sect was in those days, and the sect master was a sage-like existence. He covered the sky with one hand, grabbed the stars and the moon, and had an endless lifespan. But he still died. Who killed him? Xia Ping asked curiously. Corinne shook his head as if it was a taboo topic. I can't say it, the sage has a vague feeling. If someone in the universe says his name or even has killing intent, he will immediately sense it. If the other party happens to be free and bored, he will probably travel through countless voids to kill the enemy. So, if you don't want to die, don't say anything. It didn't want to say the name of the saint. If it did, it would die. Moreover, with Xia Ping's strength, he was worse than cannon fodder, so there was no point in knowing. Don't you want revenge? Xia Ping looked at Corinne. Revenge my ass. That's a saint. How can he take revenge? There are billions of planets in the entire star field, and only one is qualified to give birth to such a person. Do you think that sages are so easy to kill? Moreover, the fact that the other party can kill a sage is even more monstrous. Corinne disdainfully said. Actually, at that time, Master was also a bit wrong. He saw that the other party had a powerful magic weapon, so he wanted to kill him and snatch the treasure. But he didn't expect to run into a tough guy, and as a result, he was killed instead. So a person must be low-key, safe and steady, and don't casually provoke trouble. This way you can live a long and happy life. Provoking trouble everywhere is definitely because you don't want to die fast enough. If you often stand by the river, how can you not get your shoes wet? Corinne patiently taught Xia Ping some life experience, hoping that Xia Ping would be low-key in the future. If he encountered something, he would immediately become a cowardly tortoise. If he could not provoke trouble, he would not provoke trouble. Only in this way could he live a long life and not follow in the footsteps of his master. Yes, Corinne is right. I will keep it in mind. In the future, I will definitely be low-key and behave with my tail between my legs. Xia Ping nodded his head like pounding garlic. He looked as if he had received a great education, as if he had been enlightened. Corinne was very satisfied. It seemed that this last disciple of the Myriad Star sect could still be saved. He knew how to humbly accept lessons and be low-key. In the future, he would be able to survive very well in the universe. Well, let's cut the nonsense. You have passed the trial of the Multitude Starry sect, and have become a member of the Multitude Starry sect. You are also the only successor of the Multitude Starry sect. In the future, remember to carry forward the Multitude Starry sect, and recreate its glory. Now I will give you some rewards for passing the trial. Corinne waved his hand, and 3 things immediately appeared in the air. One was a pitch-black robe, one was a command token carved with stars, and the last one was a silver-white ring. This is the Universal Protective Suit. Corinne pointed at these things. You can wear it and you can survive in the vacuum at will. It absorbs the energy of the universe and creates air inside the robe. Wearing this Universal Protective Suit, you can freely enter and exit all kinds of planets with harsh environments. At the same time, it also has an extremely strong defensive power. After wearing it, you can stand still in the same place. I estimate that even a Purple Mansion realm martial artist would find it very difficult to kill you. Originally, I could have given you a more advanced protective suit, but in order to let you have a little sense of crisis, I will only give you this level of protective suit. Xia Ping reached out and took it, and immediately put it on. This protective suit was almost as light as a feather, almost without any feeling. Moreover, according to his mood, it can change into various colors and styles at will, and it can also automatically wash the clothes. It can be said that wearing this universal protective suit, it doesn't matter if you don't have other clothes. Also, this is the Myriad Star Sect's command token. With this command token, you can freely enter and exit this base. It also represents the identity of the Myriad Star Sect's sect leader. Of course, now that the Myriad Star Sect has been destroyed, this command token actually only has a symbolic meaning. Corinne continued, also, this silver-white ring, this is the universe communication device. It is a high-level smart brain. Usually, I live in this smart brain. High-level smart brain. Xiaoping looked at the silver-white ring and was startled. Is this a supercomputer that is countless times more advanced than the current humans? Truly amazing. He took the silver-white ring and put it on his finger. This smart brain has a lot of abilities. It can translate almost all the languages in the universe, which can save you the trouble of not knowing the language of the universe. Corinne explained, it has also downloaded a lot of star maps. If in the future you go on a space voyage and don't have a star map, it will be very easy to get lost in the universe and be unable to return to the human world in this lifetime. Of course, the most important thing about this smart brain is that it can go on the universe virtual network. What? Chapter 860. How do I use it? Xiaoping looked at the silver ring curiously. No matter how he looked at it, it was just a ring and not a computer. Even if ordinary people found it, they probably wouldn't know how to use it. This is a high-level AI. Similar to a treasure, bound with the soul. Immortal Cat said, in the universe, pupils can be faked, fingerprints can be faked, but the soul can't be faked. So using the soul to bind the AI, unless the owner gives the order, no one can remove the control. Amazing! Xiaoping exclaimed in admiration. His spiritual power immediately permeated it, and he immediately felt a trace of his soul energy enter the space of the silver ring. Human soul detected. Xiaoping, do you want to bind the AI and confirm as the first sequence? Immediately, a mechanical voice sounded in Xiaoping's mind. Yes, bind. Xiaoping didn't hesitate and immediately bound. Okay, confirm AI's first sequence. Xiaoping has the highest authority of AI, and has the supreme right to explain all AI rules. The mechanical voice sounded. Xiaoping's heart moved. He felt that he had a close connection with the AI, as if they were one. Even if he wanted to, he could change the ring into various shapes, and it could be invisible, not being discovered by others. His spiritual power even sensed a space of nothingness, as if he wanted to, he could enter that mysterious space of nothingness. Host Xiaoping, signal detected. Do you want to connect to the Universe Virtual Network now? The AI said. Connect to the Universe Virtual Network? Xiaoping's eyes lit up. Of course he had to connect. He was very curious about the universe. He suppressed his excitement and said in a deep voice, connect immediately. Ding! Immediately he felt the world spin, and his soul seemed to be sucked into a black hole. In the next second he appeared in another place. This is the virtual space. Xiaoping blinked and found that he had left the base of the ruins and arrived in a mysterious hall. Everywhere was made of white stones, emitting strange fluctuations. The surrounding walls were engraved with many mysterious inscriptions, unfathomable. But there was nothing around, just an empty hall. He felt it was very magical. He was clearly in the base of the ruins, but in an instant he arrived here. So real. Xiaoping clenched his fists, feeling the abundant power in his body. This was clearly just a virtual image, but it was almost the same as a real person. Every inch of power could burst out, perfectly simulated. Dong! He punched out like a barbaric elephant trampling on the ground, bombarding the surrounding walls, creating a loud sound. But the walls were not damaged at all. On the contrary, Xiaoping's fist was numb from the shock, and a trace of blood almost flowed out. It hurts. Feels so real. Xiaoping was shocked. Was this really just a virtual network? Even the sensation of pain could be simulated so realistically. It was truly incredible. Of course it's real. This isn't an ordinary virtual space, nor is it a simple virtual projection. With a swoosh, a mini kitten immediately appeared in front of Xiaoping, and jumped onto his shoulder lightly. Xiaoping was very curious. He could see that this kitten was obviously Corinne. For this kind of intelligent life, it could change into whatever form it wanted. It depended on the mood of the intelligent life. What do you mean? Xiaoping asked. Corinne stroked his grizzled beard and said, this universe virtual network is a super virtual network created by the saints of the mechanical race, who have mastered the most advanced technology in the universe, by uniting many invincible saints. The signal can almost cover the entire universe. As long as someone has a communicator, they can receive the signal in every corner of the universe. Of course, there are some mysterious places or dangerous places where even saints can fall, where there is no way to receive the signal. This kind of virtual network is not a simple projection, but a soul projection, a spiritual projection. It completely simulates any physical state of the user. This projection also has the original body's sense of pain, sight, taste, and other sensations, almost the same as a real person. So don't be careless. If you die in the virtual network, although your body will not die, your spirit will be damaged, and you won't be able to log into the virtual network again for a month. It warned Xiaoping not to act blindly without thinking. Dying in the virtual network was not without consequences. It would lead to damage to the soul. Xiaoping shivered. It seemed that this virtual network was not 100% safe. Listening to Corinne's warning, it was estimated that there would still be people dying in the huge virtual network. What is this place? Xiaoping looked around. Corinne said, "This is the entrance hall of the universe virtual network." Entrance hall? Xiaoping was puzzled. Yes, this is the entrance hall, the starting place of the virtual network. Corinne explained, from this place you can choose to enter many virtual spaces such as the entertainment space. There are all kinds of movies and TV works to watch, you can interact with virtual characters, and there are also all kinds of universe games you can play. In the learning space, you can learn all kinds of advanced martial arts knowledge and technology. Of course, these knowledge are not free, you need universe coins. In addition, there are social spaces, fighting spaces, and so on. If you want to go to any place, you can teleport there from this entrance hall. It is very fast. It waved its hand, and immediately the entire hall underwent earth-shaking changes. Space doors appeared, emitting white rays of light, with the word space written on them. These words were in the universal language. Xiaoping naturally did not understand them, but the AI translated them into Yanhuang Star's language. Of course, for the universe virtual network, the most important thing is the martial arts space, Corinne said in a deep voice. Xiaoping did not speak and listened quietly. The martial arts space is one of the greatest inventions of the virtual network. This has made the development of the human race's martial arts rise geometrically, and sages have continuously emerged. This is also the foundation of the human race to become the peak race of the universe. Corinne sighed with emotion. In this martial arts space, time is 10 times longer than the outside world. It can be said that in this place, you can use 10 times the time to practice martial arts. Moreover, the spiritual projection is training in the martial arts space, constantly sharpening, and after returning to the real world, all the martial arts experience will be fed back to the body, constantly transforming, as if the real body is training here. It is precisely because of this that human race continuously emerges strong experts, and mass production is endless. Amazing. Chapter 861. What? Xiaoping was speechless. He looked at the group of little kids who only reached his waist, surrounding him and talking about him as if they were looking at a panda. He couldn't say anything. Didn't I enter the martial arts space? Why did I come to this place that looked like a kindergarten? Right, I almost forgot to tell you. Corinne's voice came at this time. You haven't advanced to the Purple Mansion realm yet. For the virtual system, you are just a child who hasn't grown up, so you will be sent to the novice village to develop in peace. After you advance to the Purple Mansion realm, you will be qualified to go out of the novice village and come to the main big cities to live. Don't worry, the strongest in the novice village is only at the 9th level of Grandmaster. There shouldn't be any danger. Of course, it is precisely because of their weak strength that most of the people in the novice village are little kids who haven't reached adulthood. It was a little gloating. Little kid? Xiaoping's mouth twitched. He was a grandmaster in the cloud realm, but when he came to the virtual network, he was treated as a little kid who hadn't reached adulthood. The gap was too big. He also understood what was called the vastness of the universe. His strength was not even at the entry level. But are these also humans? Why are they all so strange? Xiaoping looked at the group of little kids and felt as if he had entered a monster's nest. Some children had long horns on their heads, some were like elves, some had wings, some were like vampires with sharp fangs, and some had 3 eyes. Although they all looked like humans, he felt very strange. Of course they are all humans. Corinne said, the human race in the universe is a general term. Extremely mediocre humans like your Yanhuang planet are in the minority. Most of the human race in the universe have powerful abilities. There are elves who have a natural affinity with plants, just like the children of nature. There are bloodlust star who grow by sucking the blood of strong enemies. They can even obtain the opponent's martial arts experience and majestic energy from the blood. There are fiend star who are born with a strong physique and can easily enter and exit all kinds of planets with harsh environments. Some of them are from the barbaric bull planet. They have the immense strength of the primordial barbaric bull. Their strength is enough to uproot mountains, and they are not inferior to the heaven-devouring mammoths. They've gone through generations of bloodline selections and metamorphoses. Their bloodlines have become extremely powerful. Some humans were born with a violet palace and were born into the king realm. Their starting point is so much stronger than ordinary humans. However, even with an astonishing bloodline, it is still extremely difficult to become a sage. It briefly explains some general knowledge of the universe. Xia Ping was suddenly enlightened. In that case, the Yanhuang people were still a minority in the universe. In the eyes of others, he was probably still an alien. Look, this big brother is so strange. A little girl stared at Xia Ping with her eyes wide open, as if she had discovered a shocking secret. How strange. He doesn't have any horns on his head? Oh my God, he really doesn't have any horns or a tail. How does he keep his balance while walking? He doesn't have 3 eyes either. He's not from our 3-eyed race. He doesn't seem to have wings either. Does he not know how to fly? I've read about such humans in books. They seem to be called primitive people. To put it simply, they are natives. It is said that because the natives have no sense of crisis, many of their organs have degenerated and become extremely weak. For them, it is extremely difficult to open a violet palace. Wow, I've actually seen a native. Oh my God, I've only seen it on TV before. I didn't expect to see one in real life. It's incredible. Be careful, don't get close to him. I heard that those natives are bloodthirsty and will eat people. What are you afraid of? This is the virtual space. He can't eat people. Yeah, then we don't need to be afraid at all. Amazing, I touched a native. It's very elastic. Can this native speak? Can he only speak the native language and doesn't understand what we're talking about? A group of little Lolas and little boys rushed over, blinking their big watery eyes, touching, pinching, and poking Xia Ping here and there, as if they were touching a national treasure, a panda. They were extremely curious. Xia Ping stood in place. After a long time, these little kids didn't seem to be tired of touching. Xia Ping couldn't help it anymore. He grabbed a little girl who was trying to climb on his head and put her on the ground. Wow, this native moved. A little girl was shocked. The native didn't move before, so she thought he wouldn't move. She didn't expect him to move now. She was so scared that she cried. Native, don't bully Jia. The little fatty immediately threw away the elephant leg he was eating and smashed it on the ground with a bang, immediately creating a deep pit with smoke and dust billowing. Boom! His small body erupted with terrifying power, just like a cub of a divine beast, exerting the power of the supreme power realm 5th heaven. It was extremely violent and tore the air apart. He just punched. Amazing! Xia Ping didn't expect that this 7 or 8-year-old little boy actually had the power of the supreme power realm 5th heaven. It was too abnormal. Compared with this little boy, many supreme masters in the cloud world were simply living like dogs. However, this little power was nothing for Xia Ping, who had cultivated the Dark North body protection skill and the star attraction skill. He gently patted with his palm. Boom! The little fatty's fist hit Xia Ping's palm, and there was a roar. The air exploded, and the original violent power was instantly absorbed by Xia Ping. Xia Ping didn't move. The little fatty was also shaken more than 10 meters away and smashed on the ground, creating a small pit and covering the ground with dust. But he had a strong physique, so he was still unscathed. What a powerful native! Eat my punch! The little boy in a black suit was still standing in the distance, with a proud and independent aura. It seemed that he disdained to stoop to the level of other friends, but when he saw Xia Ping's strength, he suddenly became excited, and his black pupils were full of fighting intent. Swish! In an instant, his small body actually broke through 3 times the speed of sound, like a black whirlwind bombarding. The surrounding sound was deafening, and the earth was shaken until cracks appeared. This little boy had the strength of the supreme power realm's sixth heaven. Xiaoping didn't look at it and patted with his palm again, like an ox's tail swatting a mosquito. It was powerful and the angle was accurate, making it impossible to dodge. Bang! Half of the air strength was shattered, and the little boy couldn't resist it. He returned as fast as he came. In an instant he smashed into a house 100 meters away, and a big hole was immediately shaken. Chapter 862. Why can't I go in? Xiaoping stepped forward and came to the door of the martial arts space. He reached out and pushed it. He found that the space door was tightly shut and extremely sturdy. No matter how hard he tried, he could not move it at all. Of course I can't go in. Corinne smiled slightly. You're an unregistered citizen now. You don't even have a virtual network account. How can you go in? If you want to go in, you have to create a virtual network account first. But don't worry. Master thought of this long ago, so he prepared a lot of fake identity information before he died. You can use these identity information to log into the universe virtual network. With a wave of his hand, a virtual page appeared in front of Xiaoping. There was a lot of household registration information on it. Place of birth, Jinyuan City, Lingyun Nation's Black Soil Planet, age 19, parents dead, born in an orphanage, and so on. The information on it even included Xiaoping's birth, growth, education, and so on. He was no different from a real Black Soil Planet person. No one could find anything wrong with him. The so-called Lingyun Nation seemed to be a huge cosmic empire near the Cloud Realm. It controlled 3 star fields, had countless planets, and had many powerhouses. Black Soil Planet was a native planet at the border of Lingyun Nation. It was just an inconspicuous place among the vast planets. It was so poor that no one would pay attention to it. Why is there no name? Xiaoping did not see his name on the information. Corinne stroked his beard and said, "This is Master's good intention. He was worried that you wouldn't like the name he came up with, so he left the decision of the name to you. Of course, don't expose your real information in the virtual network. Otherwise, you may encounter great trouble. People will really come looking for trouble through the network." He looked at Xiaoping. At first Xiaoping thought of a real name, but after thinking about it carefully, he decided not to. He decided to come up with a fake name and immediately filled it in. Wu Wudi. Corinne looked at the name on it, and with a snap, a strand of his beard was pulled off. He immediately hit Xiaoping and scolded, "Brat, what did you do? You named yourself Wu Wudi. Do you want to be beaten up when you go out? Do you know what this name means? It's simply attracting bees and butterflies. You're asking for a beating." Its face turned green. Just as it was about to stop Xiaoping's eyes and hands were sharp, and he had already clicked confirm. The data had been modified and there was no way to change it anymore. In this world where martial arts prevailed, where martial arts reigned supreme and monstrous geniuses coexisted, which martial artist was not proud and arrogant, thinking that they were the best in the world? Now there was someone who dared to call himself unrivaled Wu. If this wasn't courting death, what was? Did he really think that the disciples of the major sects and aristocratic clans were weak? If this was discovered, this brat would probably have to bear the consequences. Senior, you are too serious. Names are just code names, why do you care about it? Xiaoping waved his hand, thinking that Corinne was making a fuss about nothing. Moreover, he was doing it on purpose. If he didn't attract bees and butterflies and didn't become the target of public criticism, how could he earn hatred? This was the effect he wanted. With this name on his head, it was hard not to attract hatred. Codename my ass. Corinne was so angry that his beard curled up. Before, he had told this brat to be low-key, to behave with his tail between his legs, and not to cause trouble. Now he hasn't even started and he already has this wicked name. How could he be low-key? But now that the data had been modified, it was impossible to change it. It had no choice but to go on like this. It hoped that this brat would not cause trouble. Senior, can I enter this martial arts space? Xiaoping was eager to give it a try. He couldn't wait to go in and see the humans of the whole universe. He didn't know how many martial arts experts would compete. Go in, Corinne said snappily. Now it could only be like this. Let this brat suffer a little first, then he would know what low-key is. Anyway, there were many fake identities. If this identity didn't work, he would change to another identity. Perhaps it would be a good thing to take this opportunity to let this brat know what the dangers of the universe were. Otherwise, if he still didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth after entering the real universe, then it would be big trouble. Thinking of this, his mood was a lot better. Whoosh! As soon as his voice fell, Xia Ping immediately walked toward the gate of the martial arts space. This time there was no obstruction, and he immediately entered the light gate. The next second, his whole body was transmitted to another place. Xia Ping immediately found himself leaving the initiation hall, and was transmitted to an open space. This seemed to be a simple and unadorned village, surrounded by many ancient buildings with an antique charm. In the distance there was a continuous rise and fall of mountains, one after another, as if he was in a primeval forest, vast and boundless, with tall trees, lush and verdant, birds singing and fragrant flowers. The surrounding air was filled with the fragrance of flowers, which was very refreshing. It was no different from the real world. Wow, look, someone is coming in. Suddenly, Xia Ping heard a nai voice. He turned his head and looked. The person who spoke was a little lowly with a height of about 1 meter, wearing a white princess dress. She had a pair of pointy ears, amber pupils, and a pair of transparent wings on her back. Her whole body was emitting an ethereal aura. She was simply like an elf that walked out of the myths. The other party was blinking her big eyes, looking at him curiously, as if wondering why he appeared in this place. Really? Someone really came in, and it seems to be a big brother. There was also a little elf girl at the side, looking at Xia Ping curiously. Her big eyes were very pure. Why did he come to our novice village when he's already so big? Yeah, the adults who opened up the Purple Palace should have all left, so they can't come to the novice village. Could it be that this big brother is actually an idiot, and couldn't even graduate from primary school? There were also many little kids gathered at the side. They all gathered and looked at Xia Ping as if they were looking at a rare animal. He looks stupid, so I know he's not smart. A little boy with 2 bull horns on his head, black pupils, and wearing a black suit stood with his arms crossed. He had an arrogant look on his face, as if he was looking down on Xia Ping. Adults nowadays are really all useless. They can't even graduate from primary school. A little fat boy held a thick elephant leg in his hand. It was roasted until it was golden yellow, and he ate it in big mouthfuls. This little fat boy was not simple either. There were red inscriptions engraved all over his body, and every inch of his muscles emitted explosive power. He was like a calf, and his strength was shocking. Chapter 863. The natives are bullying us. Subdue him. We can't let him hurt people. Yes, let's go together and knock the natives out. Seeing this aborigine suddenly attack, many little boys and little lolas were shocked. However, all of them were martial artists and lived in the era of the grand universe. The children of Yanhuang's star were simply incomparable to this aborigine. What haven't they seen before? Moreover, they were all skilled and bold. In the virtual space, they rushed up one by one like cannonballs, wanting to completely subdue Xia Ping. Xia Ping was very casual, and he struck again and again. Although the strength of these little kids was amazing, more terrible than the human masters of the sky realm, they were too young and still very immature in the cultivation of martial arts. It would be good if they could use 30% of their strength. Unlike the masters of the sky realm, each of them had cultivated for decades or even hundreds of years. They had long mastered martial arts to the point of mastery and perfection. They could use 70% to 80% of their strength, and some could even use it completely. Their understanding of martial arts was not comparable to these children. Therefore, it was very easy for him to deal with them. He saw through the flaws of these children's martial arts at a glance and easily defeated these attacking children. Bang! 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 One by one, the children were slapped to the ground by Xia Ping, and suddenly a human-shaped pit was formed. These naughty children screamed in pain, but they were still lively. Although this was also due to Xia Ping's mercy, it was enough to prove the terrifying physique of this group of children. They were definitely carefully cultivated. They grew up soaking in medicinal baths, and the power of their bloodline was very amazing. If they were in the sky realm, they would probably all be monsters. It hurts. This native is so powerful. We are no match for him at all. What's going on? Didn't they say that the natives are very weak? Why are we being beaten so badly? Bad native, even my father didn't beat me like this. What should we do? The native is coming to eat us. A group of children screamed and looked at Xiaoping in fear. Don't be noisy. If you cry again, I will eat you. With a slap, Xiaoping stretched out his hand and hit each of them on the head. The pain made their eyes water, but under the threat of force, they did not dare to cry, for fear of being eaten by the native. Native brother, don't eat us. We don't taste good. A little lowly looked at Xiaoping pitifully. Don't worry, under normal circumstances, I won't eat you as long as you answer my questions honestly, Xiaoping said snappily. Although his expression was not very fierce, in the eyes of this group of children, he looked like a fiend. The group of brats nodded their heads like chickens pecking at grains, indicating that they would be well behaved. They had never been so well behaved since they were young. They had always been mischievous and stirring up trouble. How do I get out of this novice village? Xiaoping didn't want to continue staying in this novice village with a group of wimpy kids. He reckoned that Corinne also knew how to get out, but he wanted to watch a good show, so he deliberately didn't say anything. Therefore, he could only ask this group of children, "Leave the newbie village?" A little lowly blinked her eyes. It's very simple. As long as you go to the martial arts school in the village and pass the test, you can leave this place. There is another way, and that is to open up the Violet Palace. This way we can also leave. She told him honestly. Opening the Violet Palace? Wouldn't that promote to the King realm? Xiaoping was speechless. He reckoned that it would be impossible for him to promote to the King realm in a short period of time. However, this martial arts school was a bit interesting. It seemed to be a school to train this group of children in martial arts skills. Maybe if he entered this martial arts school, he would have a huge harvest. Let's go. Corinne, who had been silent all this time, suddenly opened his mouth and said, "If you can pass the test of this martial arts school, it should be of great benefit to you." What do you mean? Xiaoping immediately asked. This Corinne suddenly reminded him. He reckoned that this martial arts school really had a huge trick, so Corinne had no choice but to remind him. You know, this martial arts space was jointly created by many human saints. The purpose is to train the younger generation of human race. Corinne said, so in this space they also set up a lot of mission checkpoints and tests. If you can pass them, or even pass them with excellent results, you can get a huge reward. If you are particularly outstanding, you can even be personally accepted by the saints as a disciple and reach the sky in a single bound. It indicated that this martial arts space was not as simple as training martial skills. There were more mysteries. Reward? What kind of reward? Xiaoping was very curious about this. Some are powerful treasured weapons, some are peerless secret books, and there may be a lot of universe coins, even elixirs and so on. As long as you can pass the test, the saints will not be stingy because these things are nothing to them. Corinne said excitedly, "This is a great opportunity. And there is no danger to your life, so you should grasp it." Xiaoping waved his hand. Even if there are treasured weapons and elixirs as rewards, I am now above the cloud world. Even if I really get it, I can't get it. It doesn't matter, Corinne said. We can completely get rid of the help of the Universe Skypiercer Express Company. They have an extremely strong wormhole transmission technology. As long as they know our space coordinates, they can quickly transmit over. Of course, each transmission costs a lot of universe coins, which are very expensive. Ordinary people are simply not willing to spend. According to its explanation, universe coins are actually the universal currency in the universe. Buying all kinds of treasures in the universe is through universe coins, and other currencies are not recognized. Universe Skypiercer Express Company. Xiaoping did not expect there to be such a powerful company in the universe, able to transmit to every corner of the universe in an instant. What kind of amazing technology does it take to achieve this? It was simply unimaginable. However, he was also very worried that if the location of the Cloud World space was leaked to the Universe Skypiercer Express Company, would it cause great trouble? If those aliens were to attack, perhaps no one in the entire cloud world would be able to resist. That would really be a world-ending disaster, unimaginable. You don't need to worry about this. Corinne also saw Xiaoping's worry. The Universe Skypiercer Express Company is a neutral force, detached from the outside world, and no organization can affect its operation. Moreover, they also ensure that the privacy of every customer is absolutely not leaked. So far, there has not been a disaster caused by the Universe Skypiercer Express Company leaking secrets. It meant that this company was incomparably powerful, detached from everything, and no force could affect it. Chapter 864. So that's how it is. Xiaoping was very excited. If that was the case, then wouldn't he be able to buy things in the universe and then directly teleport to the sky realm? If he could buy a few powerful technological weapons, he could simply do whatever he wanted. Seeing Xiaoping's excited look, Corinne squinted and immediately poured cold water on him, saying, "Don't even think about such a good thing. Although the Universe Skypiercer Express Company can teleport a lot of items, every time a wormhole teleportation is opened, it requires a lot of universe dollars. The cheapest one requires millions of universe dollars. If the distance is too far and the item is too big, it is possible to send tens of billions of universe dollars." It indicated that the express fee was very expensive and worth a lot. Xiaoping didn't care and said, "How do I earn universe dollars?" As long as there was a way, it was fine. As for whether this method was difficult or easy, there was no need to consider. There are many ways to earn universe dollars, such as becoming a universe mercenary, completing various employers' missions, hunting universe monsters, obtaining precious raw materials, going on adventures, etc. Corinne said. But for you who can't even get out of the sky realm, the only way to earn universe dollars is to complete the martial arts space's missions and get an excess reward. As for how much you can get, it depends on your performance. Xiaoping blinked his eyes. As a former superforce, didn't multi-star sect leave me billions of universe dollars? Even a rotten ship has 3 nails. He reached out to Corinne for money. "I don't have money, but I have my life," Corinne said snappily. "If I had money, why would I be trapped in the sky realm for tens of thousands of years? I would have bought all kinds of equipment, repaired the broken spaceship, and left this damn place." In order to avoid being chased by the sage, Multi-Star Sect fled quickly and didn't even dare to touch their bank account. They changed their appearance and didn't have a dime on them. It bared its teeth, indicating that the sage was too fierce. Once the money in Multi-Star Sect's account was used, the sage would immediately know and chase them to kill them. They don't even have money. It seems that Multi-Star Sect is really poor now. Xiaoping sighed. Cat Immortal was so angry that it almost pulled out a few strands of its whiskers. "This hateful bastard touching my sore spot." It simply wished it could take out a few million universe coins and throw it at this brat's face. Thinking of this, Xiaoping touched his chin. "Forget it if you don't have money. Let's go and take a look. What is this martial arts school?" After saying that, he strode forward. Under the lead of a group of wimpy children, they turned left and right, and very soon, they arrived at the most prosperous central area of the village. Immediately, a huge white courtyard appeared in front of Xiaoping. It emitted a faint glow and looked indestructible. At this moment, there were more than a dozen soldiers standing in front of the house like poles, seemingly guarding this place. "Stop, this is the Martial Arts Academy. What are you doing here?" His tone was very solemn. He was not a real human but a virtual character in this virtual world. However, the AI granted him a high level of intelligence, allowing him to live like a normal life form, but he lacked emotions. "I want to participate in the assessment," Xiaoping immediately said. "Examination? Each test costs 10 universe dollars. Pay up and you can come in for the test." Hearing these words, the soldier nodded expressionlessly, as if it was a routine job. What? Xiaoping was speechless. He had never heard of this before. The assessment actually required money. His pocket was even cleaner than his face. Not to mention 10 universe dollars, he did not even have 1 universe dollar. After all, the money of the cloud realm could not be used in the universe at all. No one would admit that. "Native Big Brother, what's wrong?" Aren't you going in for the assessment? Why don't you go in? A little girl asked curiously when she saw Xiaoping standing at the door, seemingly hesitant to go in. Seeing the little girl's expression, Xiaoping's heart moved. He had no money, but weren't these little kids rich? Maybe he could ask them for help. I can't go in. I don't have universe dollars on me. Xiaoping spread his hands and directly explained the reason why he could not go in. No universe dollars? What is universe dollars? I heard from my dad that universe dollars are very powerful. They can buy a lot of toys and delicious food. Wow, universe dollars are really powerful. I also want universe dollars. Stupid, universe dollars are very difficult to get. I heard that adults have to work to get them. No, you guys are wrong. During the new year, a lot of adults gave me universe dollars saying that it was for me. Yes, I also received a lot of universe dollars. I think mom and dad said that they have already deposited it in a bank account. What's a bank account? Open your personal information. There is a bank account there. You can check your universe dollars. I see. Dong Dong, you are really too smart. I have already found it. A group of little kids chattered. Some of them did not seem to know what universe dollars were, and had a confused look on their faces. However, there were also children who revealed the appearance of a little adult. They knew this kind of thing like the back of their hands. They seemed to have received elite education and came into contact with the concept of money early. Look, I also found my bank account. A little girl reached out and clicked on a virtual page. Suddenly she shouted, but there are so many zeros on it. What does this mean? She looked at the bank account with a distressed expression. Wow, Jia, you are so rich. You have one. $3 million universe dollars on it. A little fatty went over to take a look and immediately said the number. 1. 3 million universe dollars. Hearing this number, Xiaoping was still a little confused. He did not know what it meant, but Corinne was so scared that he pulled out a few strands of his beard. This little girl's family was definitely super tycoon. After all, a human at the Purple Mansion realm could only earn 500 universe dollars a month as a doorkeeper and a servant. A slightly stronger fulfillment realm cultivator could only earn 1,500 universe credits a month. A divine realm could be considered to be moderately well off, and could earn 4,000 universe dollars a month. A treasure refinement realm was even more impressive, and could earn 10,000 universe dollars a month. Some with better skills could earn even more. If they chose to be their own boss, their income might multiply. But even so, it was extremely difficult to earn 3 million universe dollars. This was simply an astronomical figure that scared people to death. How do you have so many universe dollars? Xiaoping asked curiously. The little girl had a distressed expression. I don't know either. Every year during the new year or my birthday, many adults would run over and constantly give me red packets. They would give me money and wish me a happy new year. After that, mom deposited these things in the bank. Chapter 865. Hearing these words, Corinne was speechless. Comparing oneself to others was really infuriating. If ordinary people wanted to earn universe coins, it was unknown how difficult it was. Even if they risked their lives, they might not be able to earn much. But she was good. On holidays or birthdays, a group of people were anxious to give her money, and unknowingly, she had more than 1 million universe coins. The gap between people was really too big. Wow, Jia, I also found it. I also have 1 million universe coins. Amazing, there are also a lot of zeros on it. It seems to be 900,000 universe coins. Me too, I also have 800,000 universe coins. How did these numbers appear? Why haven't I seen them before? How do we spend so many universe coins? How many toys and snacks can we buy? We can't spend it. Mom said that it is to pay for school fees. The group of children chattered. They all checked the amount in their bank accounts, and all of them shouted, seemingly very excited, as if they had discovered a new continent. Corinne grimaced. This group of brats was definitely a group of super rich second-generation kids. Otherwise, how could each of them have so many universe coins, as if they did not treat universe coins as money? Ordinary people estimated that their lifetime savings would not reach hundreds of thousands of universe coins, But this group of brats had so much money just from the red packets they gave every year. Earning money was simply too easy. Little friend. Hearing these words, Xiaoping's eyes lit up and said, "Are you interested in handing over the money in your bank accounts to Big Brother for safekeeping? I promise that you will not suffer a loss." He looked like a big bad wolf looking at Little Red Riding Hood. Not interested. The little fatty looked at Xiaoping with contempt. "You are definitely a bad person. You want to cheat us children of our money. Don't think that I can't see through your evil purpose. My mom said that you can't casually trust strangers." The group of children also looked at Xiaoping with contempt. "How could it be cheating money, you misunderstood, who is more simple than us Aborigines?" Xiaoping showed a look of awe-inspiring righteousness, saying that he was an Aborigine and would not cheat money. Yes, this Big Brother is an Aborigine. It is said that the Aborigines don't know anything. They are very simple and have not seen much of the world. They are almost like animals. It seems so. They probably don't even know what universe coins are. In that case, we might have misunderstood Big Brother native. But I don't know why, but I keep feeling that something is wrong, but I can't tell what it is. The group of children also nodded. They also remembered Xiaoping's identity as an Aborigine, and their vigilance was greatly reduced. For them, aliens Aboriginals were almost the same as pets, and they could visit the exhibition. There were also some smart children who still looked at Xiaoping suspiciously. "As long as everyone believes that I'm not a liar, the misunderstanding has been resolved," Xiaoping said. "I'm not trying to cheat you of your money by asking you to hand it over to me for safekeeping. Rather, I'm borrowing it from you. We can write a promissory note, and we can't deny it. For example, you have 3 million federal coins on you. If you lend it to me, I can pay you back over 100 years. I will pay you back 13,000 federal coins every year, so that you can earn money every year and live for 100 years with money to spend. Now that you think about it, don't you think it's a good deal?" He told them his annual repayment plan, indicating that it would be of great benefit to them. "That sounds awesome. You'll be able to earn money even if you live for 100 years. Every year you can get a large sum of universe coins. Seems to be a good deal. It seems that the Aboriginal Big Brother really isn't lying to us. He is giving us benefits." The eyes of the group of children lit up. They suddenly felt that Xiaoping was not a liar. He would give them money for 100 years, and he even signed a contract and wrote a promissory note so he wouldn't lie. How about it? Don't you think this condition is very attractive? If you are willing to lend me money, then you can earn money every year in the future, and you can buy a lot of toys and snacks continuously. This is actually an investment and you don't need to work to earn money. If your parents hear about this, they will definitely be very happy and think that you have grown up. Xiaoping said carelessly. Yeah, if we tell our parents about this, they will definitely praise us. Some adults can only earn money by working, but now we can earn money as children. We are many times better than them. If Debeo and the others knew about this, they would definitely envy us. Aboriginal Big Brother, I'll lend you the money. Sign a contract with me. No, I'll lend you the money first. No, I'll lend you the money. I have the most money. Many children were duped, and they all scrambled to lend money to Xiaoping. Seeing this situation, Corinne, it was speechless. It felt that this kid's face was extremely thick. Even a Star Destroyer cannon couldn't penetrate it. Blatantly cheating children's money, shameless to the extreme. He also said that it would be returned in 100 years, and he would earn money every year. Earn my ass. It's just paying off the other party's principal in 100 years, that's all. There isn't even any interest. This is simply swindling a white wolf with bare hands. Even a bank is not as treacherous as this guy. Xiaoping was also a little guilty, but there was nothing he could do about it. Who told him to be an Aboriginal? And he had no way to earn universe coins, so he had to use this kind of small method to carry out primitive accumulation. Extraordinary people do extraordinary things, and he would not rigidly adhere to any rules. Moreover, he was not really swindling the children's money. The money still had to be returned, but it would be divided in 100 years, that's all. If he earned more money in a short time, of course he would return it in time. Of course, the most important thing was that these children were still in the small government, and their families were not short of money. This amount of money was just a drop in the ocean for them, so he was at ease to borrow it and return it in the future. Not long after, he signed a loan agreement with this group of children, and at the same time he borrowed all their money. The amount was extremely huge, reaching 23 million universe coins. If this amount was placed in the universe, it would definitely scare a lot of ordinary people to death. This damn aboriginal didn't do anything, but he actually became a multimillionaire. God knows how many ordinary people he has surpassed. Thank you, big brother. Remember to share the money with us every year, or else we will ask Dad to beat you. Yeah, don't lie to us. The group of children chattered noisily. Rest assured, am I the kind of aboriginal who would lie? There is no one in the world who is more honest than me. If you don't believe me, I will now transfer the first year's money to you, and let you enjoy the pleasure of making money. Xiaoping immediately transferred the first year's money to them, and all of a sudden he lost 230,000 universe coins. For this amount, it was just a drop in the ocean. Chapter 866. Oh no, it's time. Why is it so fast? I have to go back to school. The little loli suddenly called out, seeming to remember this extremely important matter. Then she showed a bitter expression, as if she really did not want to go to school. She felt that the place was the lair of a super monster and that it was extremely dangerous. Yeah, it's time. I have to go to school too. Go offline. It'll be bad if you're late. That old witch is angry and will definitely tell the parents. Well, run quickly. It'll be terrible if you get caught. The children also remembered this matter. They all panicked and quickly went offline. After all, if they were late to school, they would definitely be punished by the teacher. Especially since their teacher was famous for being strict. There was no child who was not afraid of her. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In the next second, the figures of these children all disappeared on the spot, teleported back to the starting point. Going to school? Seeing the group of children panicking, Xiaoping was very emotional. Even in the universe, going to school was something that many children hated. But he did not think too much about it. He turned around and went to the martial arts hall. Do you want to go in for the assessment? There was a guard in front of the martial arts hall. He was expressionless and asked routinely. Whenever someone approached the martial arts hall, he would ask. It had become a routine. Of course, Xiaoping was very rich now. A mere 10 universe dollars was simply a drop in the bucket. Bang! As soon as the voice fell, 10 universe dollars were immediately deducted from Xiaoping's bank account. Then the martial arts hall door opened, and the guard made an inviting gesture. 1. Reading. Want? Read? Without hesitation, he lifted his feet and walked in. However, this martial arts hall was ordinary, just like an ordinary martial arts hall. As soon as he entered, he saw a huge martial arts field, but it was empty all around. There was nothing, not even martial arts equipment. It was just a martial arts field. Whoosh! At this moment, a ball of light suddenly appeared in the void. Then it quickly condensed into a figure. It was a middle-aged man with a full beard. He was 1.9 meters tall. He was simply a burly man. His whole body was bulging with muscles and he was as hard as a rock. Standing in place, he was like an unshakable reef. Even in the face of the ferocious waves, he remained motionless, giving off a tyrannical aura. But in the blink of an eye, his body also exuded a peaceful and harmonious aura. It was as if the instant he appeared, the air within a radius of several hundred meters had calmed down, and all the fighting had disappeared, forming an absolute domain. But in an instant, the aura on his body became incomparably violent. It was like a falling meteor or an exploding star, containing the power to destroy heaven and earth. However, after a while, his aura changed again. He was high and mighty, looking down on all living things like a god. It was as if he could suppress the entire starry sky with a wave of his hand. An expert. Xiaoping immediately sensed that the figure condensed from this mass of light was definitely an unprecedented super expert. Even though he had seen fierce gods like the heaven-devouring demon Venerable and the soul-devouring beast, they were far inferior compared to this figure. It was as if this was the true ruler of this universe, possessing great power that mortals could not resist. This is the phantom of a sage. Corinne's pupils contracted, and he clicked his tongue in admiration. As expected of the Universe Virtual Network, a mere martial arts school assessment in a novice village actually simulates the phantom of a sage. It's really abnormal. Sage phantom? Xiaoping blinked his eyes and looked at Corinne. The so-called sage phantom is an energy puppet that simulates all the martial arts cultivation and experience of a sage. Although it is not comparable to a real sage, it still has 60 to 70% of his strength and is extremely powerful. Corinne said in a deep voice. It's still like this? Xiaoping was speechless. Fighting with a sage, isn't this courting death? Who can pass? Corinne laughed. Of course it's not fighting with a sage at his peak. This is just a martial arts assessment, so this sage phantom will suppress its strength to the same level of martial arts as you, and then fight with you. It is responsible for assessing your martial arts skills, combat awareness, and control of various martial arts. But don't think that this is very simple. A sage has cultivated all his martial arts to a perfect and flawless level. His vision and experience are many times more than ordinary people. This is a perfect and flawless realm. Even if you suppress your own strength and fight with ordinary people, even if 100 ordinary people join together, they would still not be his opponent. The disparity is huge. It indicated that the strength of the sage phantom was extremely frightening. Of course, it was also the best opponent to assess his martial arts level. However, it was estimated that not every novice village was so extravagant as to actually use the sage phantom as an examiner. Perhaps this novice village was very special, gathering many super geniuses, super rich second generations, and could be regarded as a small monster village. Therefore, the examiner in this village was also very abnormal, and the assessment standard would be correspondingly raised. Strange, why was I teleported to this village? Xiaoping looked puzzled. Although Xiaoping didn't understand, Corinne had some guesses because the Universe Virtual Network itself was a powerful AI. Who knows how many times more powerful than Corinne? Countless humans who entered the Universe Virtual Network would be instantly scanned by the AI, knowing each person's physical condition and physical potential. Therefore, according to different people's qualifications and strength, the AI would automatically assign people to which martial arts space and which novice village they would go to. Perhaps Xiaoping's infinite potential was also detected by the virtual network system. So he was assigned to this small monster village, and was regarded as the same kind as this group of small monsters. Coming to this novice village was actually a coincidence, but it was also a kind of inevitability. Ding dong at this time, a mechanical voice sounded in the martial arts school space. The assessment will begin in 10 minutes. Examinee Wu Wudi, please get ready. Xiaoping took a deep breath, adjusted his breathing, stabilized his emotions, and let himself be in an ethereal state. His heart was like a mirror without any ripples. Fighting with the sage phantom, it was impossible to do it without 120% of spirit. If there was a moment of negligence, he would probably be defeated in an instant. The assessment begins. 10 minutes passed in the blink of an eye, and the mechanical voice sounded again. Rumble. As soon as he finished speaking, the apparition of the sage immediately moved. He didn't make any other movements at all, just a punch. It was as if Mount Tai was pressing down on him. It was upright and powerful, as if he didn't want to use any tricks. He used an absolute fist technique to crush his opponent. It was like a mountain pouring down, a river collapsing and a land sinking. A punch blasted out. Chapter 867. So strong. Xiaoping was shocked. He actually saw that in an instant, there were 1,000 fists blasted out by the phantom of the sage, which crushed over with overwhelming force, making people breathless. In the air, it was full of dense fist prints, condensed into a substance, like an army of thousands of people rushing over, as if to completely crush people to death, leaving them nowhere to escape. Was this the strength of the fourth heaven of supreme power realm? He couldn't imagine that this phantom of the sage had suppressed his cultivation to the same realm as himself. It was estimated that in the cloud realm, even the seventh heaven of supreme power realm would be killed by a punch. In fact, this was not a very delicate move just because the speed of the phantom of the sage was too fast. 1,000 punches in a second caused such a terrible power, which was extremely fierce. Dark North protection skill. Xia Ping immediately made a move, his hands turned into a circle, and ran the Dark North protection skill. A rock instantly jumped out of the air and wrapped his body. Bang! Bang! The fist prints blasted in an instant, and the power of each punch was terrifying. It was like a mountain rolling over, extremely heavy, and the fist force was condensed to the extreme and oppressed to the limit. How is it possible? Xia Ping's pupils shrank because he found that even though his Dark North protection skill was extremely strong in defense, in the face of this condensed fist force, it was almost impossible to resolve, because the fist force of each punch seemed to have a strong spiral force. This force was constantly rotating, and even the Dark North protection skill was difficult to resolve. Even if he could resolve the fist force of one punch, how could he resolve it so quickly when thousands of punches attacked at the same time? This was simply beyond the current limit of the Dark North protection skill. Suddenly, such a fist shook his blood and qi, and his body was in a state of numbness, and even his body had severe pain. The terrifying fist force generated a spiral, constantly penetrated his lungs, and was about to seriously injure his body. This is the phantom of the sage? It's too strong. Originally, Xia Ping thought that he could easily defeat a Supreme Power Master of the same level at the fourth heaven of Supreme Power Realm, but facing this phantom of the sage whose strength was exactly the same as his, he was beaten to the point that he had no power to fight back and was completely suppressed. The strength of the opponent was not beyond his, and the speed was only about the same, but the fist technique of the phantom of the sage was so exquisite that it was natural and at his fingertips. Such a technique had reached the Tao realm. That was an extremely mysterious realm. It was as if his every move was within his opponent's expectations. Every casual punch of his would land on the flaws in his movements, making him feel extremely uncomfortable, as if he was being restrained in every aspect. Even a defensive energy art like the Dark North Body Protector art couldn't stand up to the fist technique of a sage. His qi and blood were roiling, and his body was invaded by the spiraling energy, bruising all over. Bang! The phantom of the saint smashed over and instantly hit Xia Ping's head, sending him flying hundreds of meters away and rolling like a football. Again! Xia Ping's eyes revealed a raging fire. He straightened his body like a carp and immediately jumped up from the ground. He was still as lively as a dragon and a tiger, and was not defeated by a single punch. Because his body was too strong, he cultivated the pure yang immortal incantation, using the essence of the sun to temper his body, and he also had the infernal golden crow bloodline, constantly evolving his body. Recently he also cultivated the star-attracting art, receiving the power of the stars in the sky, infusing it with the energy of the pure yang immortal incantation. Yin and yang coexisted, with the taste of water and fire compatibility. If the star-attracting art was cultivated to the great accomplishment realm, it was estimated that he could condense a body of stars. That was a body that even the Star Destroyer cannon could not destroy. Even if a person was in the vacuum of the universe, he could survive. A mere punch was not enough to completely defeat him. Bang bang bang. The phantom of the saint had no emotions. It was just an energy puppet. Its mission was to defeat the students who participated in the examination. As long as the students did not fall and did not choose to admit defeat, it would continue to fight. Its punches were like the wind, and one punch after another it was like a mountain falling from the starry sky to the earth. Moreover, it was not a human, just an energy puppet, so there was no state of power exhaustion like a human. The power of each punch was the same, and it was extremely accurate like a machine. Unmovable Buddha's palm. Xia Ping counterattacked, slapping out like a Buddha, slapping out the taste of unmovable Buddha, and his whole body emitted a golden Buddha light, containing the aura of Buddha's mercy. It was as if this palm was going to subdue the demon, forcing the devil to put down the butcher's knife and repent. Dong! But the phantom of the saint only punched out. It was emotionless. The heavenly Tao was heartless, treating all living things as dogs. This was an emotionless punch. The fist of the heavenly Tao seemed to contain the concept of merging one's body with the Tao. In an instant, the power of Xia Ping's palm was shattered, and the force trembled. Myriad beasts fist. Heavenly dragon's music. 4 seasons sword art. Clapless palm. Xia Ping used almost all of his martial techniques, but they were all easily broken by the phantom of the saint. It was as if the phantom of the saint had seen through all the flaws of his fist techniques. Even when a punch landed on the phantom of the saint, it was blocked by the phantom of the saint, and it was unharmed. It wasn't that these martial arts weren't strong enough, but that he was too weak now, unable to unleash the true power of such martial arts. Too strong. Xia Ping felt that the martial arts of the phantom of the saint were as vast as the ocean, unfathomable and unimaginable. This was already another realm of martial arts, and it was beyond imagination. No matter how he moved, it seemed that in the eyes of the saint, he was just a baby learning to walk. The gap was huge. No, even if I attack the phantom of the saint, the destructive power is not enough, and I can't defeat this phantom of the saint. Xia Ping's eyes flickered, looking for an opportunity to defeat the phantom of the saint. Although the phantom of the saint beat him very badly, because of the existence of Dark North's body protection technique, he was still in an invincible position, and all the fist energy was defended. The phantom of the saint could not defeat himself, and he could not defeat the other party. The battle was in a stalemate. Dong! After an unknown period of time, Xia Ping was sweating profusely and panting. The phantom of the saint punched his body, and the terrifying spiral energy exploded in his body, sending him flying hundreds of meters. These spiral energies were terrifying to the point of being a mess, spinning wildly and penetrating into the lungs. If he was in his real body now, this punch would probably make him vomit blood and his lungs would be injured. What a strong spiral energy! There is actually such a terrifying martial arts skill in the world. A punch like a mountain, like a whirlpool, making people have nowhere to escape. Any protective qigong will be shattered. Chapter 868. Again. Xia Ping rushed up and fought with the shadow of the saint, feeling the strength of the saint's attack. He felt that fighting with the saint's shadow was very beneficial. It was like a good teacher helping him to find out what he was lacking. As the battle progressed, the flaws in his martial arts moves became fewer and fewer. He already had the feeling of mastering them thoroughly and perfecting them, although he had the system's enlightenment, which allowed him to learn very quickly. If he wanted his body to truly master these martial arts, even his blood and every cell in his body would be engraved with the memory of these martial arts. Just the help of the system was not enough. The most important thing was to rely on himself, experience in combat. And the saint's shadow had given him great help. This was the pressure of extreme battles between life and death, which allowed Xia Ping's martial arts experience to evolve at the speed of light. There was a trace of the embryonic form of a martial arts master in his body. After all, such an opportunity was too rare. To be able to fight with a saint, even if it was just a shadow, was an unimaginably huge fortuitous encounter. It was probably very difficult even for a king to have such a fortuitous encounter. Could only be encountered by chance. Bang bang bang. The saint's shadow punched, causing Xia Ping's qi and blood to roll in his body to feel numb. It was as if countless ants were biting his body, making him feel very powerless. Golden Crow's Eye. With this realization, Xia Ping was not just fighting with the Saint Phantom. At the same time, he was also observing the Saint Phantom's every move and comprehending the other party's martial arts moves. If it was an ordinary person, it would be impossible to learn the opponent's martial arts skills during a battle. But Xia Ping was different. He had the Golden Crow's Eye. This eye was extremely powerful. Not only did it have extremely strong dynamic vision, but it could also see through things, see far, and even slow down the opponent's attack speed. It could analyze the opponent's strength at all times. It could be said that if Xia Ping wanted to, he could analyze the opponent's every move, know any of the opponent's movements in a second, and understand the opponent's martial arts skills. Although the opponent was a saint's shadow and it was many times more difficult to analyze than ordinary people, he believed that as time passed, it was only a matter of time before he could secretly learn the opponent's martial arts. Time passed bit by bit. So far, He had fought with the Saint's shadow for a total of 10 days and 10 nights. According to the comparison of time in the real world and the virtual network, only 1 day had passed in the real world. However, even though Xiaoping's body was like a monster's, he could not withstand such a mental strain. If he were to be punched a few more times, he would not be able to hold on any longer and fall unconscious. However, the Saint's phantom was still the same as before. There were no changes and it was like a machine. This situation was simply despairing. This was a huge gap. I've mastered it. However, not only did Xiaoping not feel despair, his eyes shone with excitement. This was because as he fought with the Saint Phantom, he did not know how many punches he had taken. The past 10 or 20 years of his life might not have been as much as he had today. It was likely that every cell in his body had been tortured by the sage's shadow. The pain was engraved in the deepest part of his soul. However, this price was still worth it. As his body battled, he had already comprehended the most basic technique of the spiral energy, and he had mastered the fist technique of the Saint Phantom. So that's how it is. This is the true power of the spiral. How powerful! Xiaoping was very excited. He felt that the earth energy in his body had undergone an earth-shattering change. The earth energy flowed through every meridian and acupoint. It was no longer flowing slowly like before. Instead, a vortex was formed, producing the power of the spiral. Although it was just a change, this change was astonishing. It was like a transformation, as if a primitive man had evolved into a modern man. This was a supreme martial arts technique. Xiaoping could feel that after mastering the spiral power, even an ordinary punch was several times more powerful than before. The destructive power was terrifying to the point of being a complete mess. Dong! At this moment he took a step forward, and the entire ground trembled. It was as if an ancient barbaric elephant was trampling. With his body as the center, a terrifying vortex suddenly appeared. It was as if the surrounding atmosphere was revolving around his body, and nothing in the world could escape this power of rotation. The Saint Phantom also seemed to feel this threat. In the face of such a spiral, he felt that his body seemed to be pulled by countless forces, as if there were ropes binding his body. It was as if a Kuan Pong had opened its mouth and was crazily devouring him, producing an extremely terrifying suction force. He could not escape. Kill! Xiaoping punched out. It was an ordinary punch like the incarnation of a saint. It wasn't a leap, nor was it a shift. It was just an ordinary punch, a punch that was as heavy as Mount Tai. The fist shook, and the air exploded. Bang bang bang. There were countless explosions in the void, and a series of explosions occurred. From his fist, a terrifying spiral force was produced, like a black hole vortex. Such a punch was like Mount Tai pressing down, making it almost impossible to breathe. The Saint Phantom felt great danger, and his body flickered, as if he wanted to dodge. But there was no way to dodge. Such a punch had a strong spiral force, and a suction force was produced in the surroundings, as if the Saint Phantom was being sucked in. Dong! This punch landed solidly on the Saint's illusory figure. The spiraling force exploded and seeped into the Saint's body, causing the void to tremble. In that instant, the surrounding air seemed to have solidified, producing spiraling ripples that swept in all directions. The entire ground of the martial arts school seemed to be a little cracked, and it trembled. With a boom, the sage's shadow exploded and disappeared from this space. And this space returned to silence once again, leaving only Xiaoping in place. Phew! Seeing the Saint Phantom explode, Xiaoping suddenly exhausted his strength and fell to the ground, gasping for breath, sweating profusely and almost collapsing. If this punch did not defeat the Saint Phantom, he would probably have lost. Congratulations to trial challenger Wu Wudi for passing the assessment perfectly. The reward is 10,000 universe dollars. At this moment, a mechanical voice was heard, resounding throughout the martial arts school. Freak! Corinne, who was next to him, saw this situation, and the corners of his mouth twitched. He was speechless. He never thought that Xiaoping could actually pass the assessment perfectly. After all, this was the Saint Phantom, not something else. An ordinary martial artist would be killed in one move. But this kid fought with the Saint Phantom for 10 days and 10 nights, And in the end he actually learned the Saint Phantom's martial arts and blew it up with one punch. This wasn't freak, then what was? He reckoned that when the Star Sect Master was young, he was not as freakish as this kid. It was too exaggerated. After all, this was only a martial arts assessment. It was not about defeating the Saint Phantom, but getting the recognition of the Saint Phantom. If he thought that the other party was qualified, then he would be qualified to pass. You're tuning into the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.